Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. Wherever you are, whoever you support, you are very welcome. Unless you're a troll. Actually, even then, you're very welcome. Try and give me your best troll comments and we'll weed them out. Welcome to episode 36 of the Spurs Review. We are joined today by the Danalist. We're joined by Danny from the Hotspur Hood. We're joined by Manny from Designated Hotspur and Marlon from Spurs Kings TV. It's a who's who of Spurs content creators tonight. And of course, I am Savva. Guys, welcome to all of you. How are we doing? Is everyone well?
As good as one can be, mate. As good as one can be. Welcome back from your holiday. Obviously, this is the first time we're speaking.
Mate, it feels like that was ages ago, but thank you. Straight back into it feels like it was. I need to book another one. I actually got I got an email this morning from Tui saying, we know how difficult it is when you finish your holiday. Why don't you let us help you book another one? And you know when you're like, oh, could I? Could I? No, I'll leave it a little bit. But listen, guys and girls, welcome everybody. Tottenham Hotspur sitting third in the Premier League after Liverpool's last gasp penalty to beat Burnley. But Tottenham are sitting third, 9 points from 12, 3 wins from 4. We've bounced back, and we're going to be talking about yesterday's game. We're also going to be talking about Villarreal. Tuesday night, we're back under the lights at White Hart Lane for Champions League nights. We'll be talking about that and anything else that we wish to discuss. Guys, I want to start on yesterday's game before we move to Villarreal. And I want to start by asking, let me go with the Danalist. Let me start with you, Dan. What did you think? What did we all make? What did you make of the lineup when you saw it? There were lots of moans and groans and grumbles and worries, Dan. But what did you make of the lineup when you saw it? You're on mute. Good start. You're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you now. We got you now.
Yeah. Big up, Savva. Big up, panel. Big up, chat. Hope everybody's okay. Yeah, I was a bit surprised with the lineup, especially the forward, the centre forward we selected, Tell. You know, that was a bit of an eye-opener. And he went with Saar, Bergvall in there. I wasn't too worried about them because when I saw the West Ham midfield, I thought we should be able to run all over them, you know, because if, you know, Ward-Prowse and Souček, right? So, yeah, I was okay with that. It was just the centre forward I was a little bit worried about, yeah, which, you know, we'll talk about. But Simmons, I mean, many fans will probably want to see him more central. So that was a bit of a surprise being on the left. But it's his first game, you know, see how he gets on. And yeah, so other than that, I thought that team should have been good enough to beat West Ham in the form they're in.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, Marlon, did you feel the same? I think Dan's kind of hit the nail on the head, right? The first thing that kind of everyone looked at was, Xavi Simmons, our brand new playmaker, being shoehorned on the left because we don't have a playmaker, because we don't have a left winger. Did you feel that way? How did you feel about it?
Do you know what? I said this yesterday. I was quite disappointed with his lineup, and I don't necessarily think it worked. I just think it kind of went into the hands because West Ham are that rubbish because we didn't create nothing. We didn't actually create anything in that first half. The first half was the most boring game of football that I've watched in a long time. And I think we had Paqueta and his miss and then our goal, and that was it. And that was ruled out because of VAR. Well, not VAR, but due to the ref thinking it was a foul. But there was nothing else really going on in the first half. And then he tactically tweaked it in the second. And this is where I agree with Dennis. I think if we had gone with a bit more of an attacking lineup and put Xavi central, because the way there was Fernandes and was it Ward-Prowse and Souček were, we could have got at them. We could have actually finished them off quite early. And I think we were quite lucky that in the end they did get a man sent off as well. I know we scored from the corner, but we just didn't seem to create hardly anything until that man got sent off. And I felt like if he had gone a bit more, not pragmatic in the way, because if he'd gone less pragmatic with the way, I thought he was great to drop Bentancur because he didn't need both him and Paulinho in that lineup. I thought that was a great, but I just thought at some point, I think we could have done what Chelsea had done to West Ham if we'd put out a more an attacking lineup and probably seen a striker out there. If he's saving Richarlison for Tuesday, which I think everyone kind of said he was, then I get it. But Kolo Muani hasn't played any minutes either, but I get he's only just started training in the last 2 weeks. So, look, he tweaked it in the second half. It worked, and we got the 3 points. But, look, he got away with one, I think, with the lineup. I just think if it wasn't West Ham, we could have come a bit unstuck. But, look, we got the 3 points, and I'm happy about it. So...
Yeah, I mean, Manny, let me come to you on this. I'll kind of lead a question off of the back of what Marlon said. My viewers will probably get really bored of hearing me say this, but this is the problem I've predicted the whole time by saying when we don't sign what you need in the transfer window, i.e. a left winger and a Son replacement, I think this is the issue we're going to have every game. Every game we're going to be discussing who plays number 10, who plays on the left, because now Xavi Simmons is basically the guy that does both of those positions. But whichever one he doesn't play is going to be left very, very weak. What do you make about that?
No, spot on, because same thing. So I saw the lineup come up and I was thinking, what on earth is going on here? Because I've been one of the people who's been banging on about the fact that Xavi he's not a winger. He's not a winger. And I think watching him yesterday, you could see he has, he's silky. He's got the touches. He's the one that can make things happen, but he is not the one who would skip past anyone and run. He's not your traditional, touchline winger. He's a 10. And I think watching the game yesterday, I was thinking, well, his only option, Thomas Frank's only option would have been to have Xavi in the 7 and played Johnson on the left. But I reckon he actually looked at it and was thinking he probably didn't want a situation where he didn't have ball playing forwards in the lineup and wanted a bit more control in the gameplay, which is why he ended up having Xavi on the left and then having a pressing 10 in Sarr in the 10. So yes, it is an issue, the fact that we haven't bought the left winger. But what I do like about Thomas Frank, and I have to say, is the fact that when he comes against teams that he genuinely feels we should be beating this team, he's not afraid to make the changes necessary ahead of other priorities. And in my opinion, he's looking at that Champions League list of teams that we're playing and thinking we could do something here. So if we're playing West Ham, there is absolutely no need to bring in Kolo Muani, who's just come in and doesn't know the system too well and hasn't played since the Club World Cup, where he played very, very minimal minutes. And 2, Richarlison has just flown in from South America. I'm going to have him on the bench resting for the Villarreal game. So I'm happy about that, but there are some question marks in regards to the fact that we haven't got a left winger for sure.
Yeah, listen, I'll come to Danny. I won't ask him the same question because I spoke to him about this yesterday, so I know. But yeah, Manny, as I said yesterday, I'm going to go to my grave with this. That this is why when people are telling me I'm negative and to calm down and you can't do everything in one window, this is exactly the problem I wanted to avoid. I was speaking to Dan before the show, before the game yesterday. Dan and I were talking and was saying, had Spurs had bought just use Matoma for example, right? Had you had bought a Matoma, every Spurs fan before the game is predicting the lineup with Matoma left, Simmons in the middle, Kudus right. Yeah, that's no one's going, oh, I play him, I play you. We don't have that, and that for me is a real big issue as to what he can do. But Danny, in the end, it didn't matter. In the end, the lineup didn't matter. But we did get better and better, Dan, didn't we, as the game went on? I take Marlon's point of what the first 30 minutes was a real tough watch, but then we did really start to get on top of them, didn't we? And our pressure was just starting to tell a little bit. You're on mute, by the way.
Yeah, I was sceptical of starting Bergville and Sarr together there, but I saw what he went to do after we spoke about it, sort of thing, and worked it out a bit. At a first look, it did look a bit strange. But then he basically did what I said he might do the day before, and that's basically played with a DM instead of a 10. And then the one that was definitely questioned, I mean, Sarr and Bergville, they worked. They stood up to it. Bergville, second half, really good. First half, meh, same as everyone else, apart from Van der Ven and Kudus. apart from that, I think last 10 minutes of the first half, we started to get control of the game. Second half, we came on, definitely had a lot more pace in us, definitely had that bit more of aggression in us, that bit more fight into us. But the time we really took the game over was when they went down to 10 men, and I expect that, basically. I expect a 3-0 against, say, West Ham when they go down to 10 men and we're on them. With the side on the left, this is going to be the question, because I don't even think any of us know what his main formation is going to be yet.
Yeah.
And saying we haven't got a left, we have got a left, and that is Savva. He actually played on the left more than he played on the 10 last season. I personally feel you'll see more out of him as a 10. I feel he's more capable as a 10. When you look on him as a left winger,
I mean, Dan, he said that himself yesterday. He was asked the question.
I saw it.
Where do you play? I'm a 10. Right?
And also, can I say that?
Agree. And with that, he played just as many games. But what I was going to say, he's not an out-and-out winger. He's a bit more like a Son. He's an inside forward when he plays on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
So he's got more than enough capability of doing it. If you want an out-and-out winger out of him, more like what we'll say Kudus, then that's not him. But if you're going to want someone playing on the left to cut in and be an inside forward, basically inside playmaker from the side, he done that more than he did play as a 10. But playing number 10, I think, is where you will see the best out of him as such.
Yeah.
But he's got more than enough capability to play it from that left-hand side. Like I said, his GA was basically exactly the same, pass a goal and everything else on the left. But I do think we will see better if we play him as a 10. But the question is, what is going to be the consistent formation?
Dan, can I just ask you on that? I don't disagree with anything you've said there. For me, I think the issue is that it's not whether or not I believe, Xavi's got the ability to play from the left. For me, it's just that, again, we're going back to, do you remember a couple of years ago when Ericsson left the club and Spurs didn't have a playmaker? So what we ended up having to do was drop Kane into there and let some run off him. Problem is now we don't have that. So we're now going back to a time where we'll have a workman-like midfield with runners like Bergvall and Sarr. But if Xavi is out wide left, you've got nothing creativity-wise through the middle. Because for what Bergvall and Sarr do, they're not creators, are they? They're not guys that thread a pass. They're not guys that open you up. So isn't that a worry, Dan, that if Xavi plays out there, that we're very much everything goes out wide, nothing through the middle?
If we're going to play a 4-2-3-1, then for me, he's got to be a 10.
Yeah.
He's the only one we've got there with that capability. And I don't think Maddison's ever going to come back personally to the extent that he can. I don't think his body's going to be able to handle it. Not necessarily him, but I think where he's done his knee again, back to back, I think he's pretty much done and dusted. I hope I'm wrong. But he is the only real playmaker number 10 we got. Unless you want to play a number 10 as a shadow man, then Kulusevski's your man for that one. Or as just an attacking midfield central, whatever. But if we want a playmaker, he's the one who's going to have to play there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
sorry,
if we're not going to use that 10, then we're going to have to use him from the left-hand side to do his playmaking from there inside, basically. It all depends on how Frank uses formation, basically.
This is why I'm so upset we didn't get what we needed. Manny, you were going to say something. Sorry.
No, all good. Because what I was saying is, because I've seen in the chat a lot of people are talking about the fact that he played predominantly as a left winger in the Bundesliga, but it's a totally different league. You know what I'm trying to say? The requirements of a left winger in the Bundesliga is totally different to the requirements of a winger in the Premier League. And I know I keep going back to the same example. Sancho was a winger in the Bundesliga, but when he came into the Premier League, the qualities that he has clearly shows that deploying him as a winger is a waste of time. Like when they asked Thomas Frank what he thought of Xavi's cameo, you could see that there was a somewhat of a hesitant kind of tone in his voice. And in my opinion, it's exactly that. If you want the best out of Xavi, in my opinion, even if you watch his compilations of his goals, assists, they're all from that midfield area. That's where he operates the most, because he's a creator. He's got an eye for creation. He can see a run. He can see a pass. And that's the reason why you'd want him there. Obviously, as I said, even like Mwani could be that solution based on the fact that even at Juve, he played a lot of games as a striker, but he was deployed on the left a lot at Juve in PSG. So maybe he could be the answer. I'm not sure, but for what I am 100% sure of is that Xavi is definitely should be played as a 10, depending on the formation, obviously, but he definitely should be a 10.
The way they do play him, though, is they don't play him as a winger. They play him as more of a inside forward.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was going to say
not many teams actually play with a winger anymore. When we speak of a left winger, right winger, I think a few people seem to think of Ryan Giggs, basically, sort of player. It's not really like that anymore. I mean, Kudus is more similar to actually being a winger than just cutting in all the time. Whereas the way he was played in Germany, he was played as basically a Son, but with more of a creative role, basically. To cut into the 10 position as such and do the job from there. And then also drift out because he's got more than enough capability to cross the ball. He was sort of used as a bit of both sort of thing, but you always saw the best out of him when he'd drift into the middle and then take it from the 10 position as such. But again, it's going to depend on what the manager wants to do, isn't it?
Yeah, you did see that yesterday, like, because what you said there, Dan, about him coming inside a lot. Spence was meant to be doing the overlapping on the left side, where you saw where Kudus and Porro wasn't exactly doing that. So I think once time goes on, if he is going to play him on the left, I think if there's a relationship between Spence and Simmons that does develop, I think we'll see that Simmons will come more and more inside, and hopefully Spence will be doing the overlapping. Look, it's not ideal because we haven't got that left winger, but I think at the present moment, that's what we're stuck with, and we might just see more and more of that going forward. I don't know. Look, we'll see what happens over the next few weeks.
Well, let me ask you all, other than where he played, it was his debut, a lot of anticipation. How do we all feel that he played? Anybody?
Pretty good.
I felt he... Oh, hello, Ian. You all right?
You guys?
Lubo.
Right, Lubo was 25 minutes late, like most of his opinions. So it's all good. Welcome, Lubo. Welcome. Anybody? Yes, Simmons. How did he play, guys? What did we make of his debut?
Exciting. He looked to go forward. He looked to drive on and go at players every time, didn't he? You know, he's direct. He's looking to create something every time he's on the ball, which is great. You know, it's none of this get the ball, look, turn, knock it back. It's so exciting. He can only get better and better. 2 training sessions and pretty good. Really pleased.
Yeah, it's very early to say, isn't it? Like you can see the touches. You can see his quality. You can see his intelligence on the ball, and you can see the fact that when he gets the ball, it's quite difficult to just take it off him, which is all the opposite of what we've witnessed, you know, on that side with and I don't want to mention his name too much, but Johnson with regards to things. So it is encouraging. And in the end, guys, what we want is quality, right? You want quality on the bench, quality on the field, and him being in there, he showed quality. So it to me, average, but with a lot of expectations going forward. He's just come in.
Look, guys, I thought he was tidy. I thought he was okay. You know, he didn't give the ball away. There was a couple of misplaced passes, but he's just getting used to his teammates. I don't want to see him on the left. I know he can do it. Yeah, but ideally, you could see him. He's always trying to run central, wasn't he? He was always trying to cut in. He had a shot. You know, we need to see him central. Hopefully, we'll see him on Tuesday in that central position, because that's what we brought him for, right? That attacking midfielder, number 10. I don't really want to see him much out on the left unless we really, really have to. I just don't understand it, you know. What about Wilson? You know, why couldn't he have played on the left yesterday? Surely he's good enough to play West Ham. It is a big problem, Savva, you know, with everybody, this left wing problem. You know, yesterday in the game, there was 3 changes to that position.
What's that?
It is a problem.
It's a problem, isn't it? After you telling me, don't worry, you can't do everything on window. We're lopsided. We're lopsided.
We didn't get a left winger. So
but Ian, why isn't he playing a winger? He's got wingers there. Why isn't he actually playing a winger? He's got Wilson. Why isn't he playing a winger?
He clearly doesn't rate any of them. Tell's not in the Champions League squad. Odegaard's not getting starts. Brennan Johnson at the first. I mean, let's be fair. He's been playing Brennan Johnson over the left wingers that are actually left wingers. Well, I mean, doesn't that scream? Doesn't that tell you everything you need to know when you're playing left wingers? When you're playing a right inside forward at left wing because you don't rate your wingers.
I reckon he'll start Odebear on Tuesday night with Richie in the middle and Kudus on the right. Yeah, I do. I think he'll start with Odebear on Tuesday. He obviously doesn't think Kolo Muani is up to starting in terms of fitness.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Minutes yesterday, did he?
No, I agree with that. I think
he's not a winger either.
Yeah, I think he'll go quite. I think he'll go quite similar to what we saw over the weekend, and go with the three midfielders of probably Benton Cole will probably come back in, but he will probably go quite similar. And I reckon Javi will be on the left again. I reckon that's what we're going to see. Yeah. I don't think he'll play over there.
Yeah, I agree. I think
because that was like Dan said, this was probably the best game for us to see Odebear in because he's up against Cole Walker-Peters. No offense, this is the guy that got relegated last year. West Ham have not started very well in the league apart from their last 10 minutes against Forest. You know, he started Tell up front for a reason because he knew West Ham were that bad. Because if we're being honest, if this was a Brighton, Tell's not playing up front. So I think he took the risk, and I just think that when it comes to a Tuesday, I think it will be a similar midfield to what we've seen in the last 4 games. I don't think it's going to change until we start getting till Muwani's probably up to scratch and probably can play on the left, and Richarlison, and when Solanke comes back,
let me ask you though, while we're talking about this, everyone keeps talking about Muwani on the left. Muwani doesn't play on the left. Like Muwani's played there about 10 to 15 times in his career, right? So again, aren't we literally? Do you see what I mean, Marlon? When I said about
we're going to have this conversation, I want him to play up top.
Every game we're going to talk about which shoehorned player plays on the left wing.
But I think it's going to be Muwani, unfortunately, because
possibly.
I think that's part of the reason why he was brought in, because he could play that left role. Because I think Solanke getting injured probably didn't help as well. But with Richarlison being trusted now up top, and when Solanke comes back, Muwani, depending on what happens, I want Muwani to play up top because I think he's probably going to give us a better output than the other two that we've got eventually.
Agreed.
But I think they're going to shoehorn him on the left because he has played there in his career, and he's probably we might get to a point where he might be better than what we've got out there already. And because if he's like you said, he's playing Brennan Johnson out there, so we're like Brennan Johnson.
Yeah, so he can't be that bad.
Yeah. So I reckon we're looking at it going that he's just going to put him out there because he can play there. So look, we're going to have a massive issue on that left this season, and it just depends on whether we're going to fix it in January or fix it next season.
Yeah, Savva, can I say one thing as well? Sorry, on the back of that, like I genuinely do think, right, that because looking at the transfer window that we had and the fact that Lookman was literally there for 40 million euros, right? I genuinely think that they have set their eyes on one player on that left wing, and they decided to bring Muwani in as a stopgap to then go for him either Jan or probably Jan will be difficult, but next summer. That's genuinely what I think. So I know people are saying that Muwani doesn't play on the left, but I genuinely think they brought him in to interchange between the left and up top. That's generally what I think.
Yeah, does everyone else feel this as well? Because Danny, me and you talked about this yesterday. It's a bloody risky scenario, isn't it? If I think everyone can agree. Do we all agree when we're talking about what Manny's just said? He may as well have said Savio, right? I think we're all thinking it, right? Savio. Danny, this is a risky strategy, right? Because listen, if you turn around and said to me right now, Dan, right, we're guaranteed to get Savio in January, I can turn around and go, cool, I'm not going to mention the left winger until January. I promise. I won't do it. But why would he suddenly be available in January, Dan? And it's really risky because, as we talked about yesterday, it's not just about what we want to do in January. What if Man City get to January and they've got loads of their wingers injured and then they go, no, actually, you can't have Savio anymore? What if Savio's injured? What if he does his ACL in November? So what happens to our plans? Do you know what I mean?
That's the problem on when you rely on everybody else and not yourself. if that's the way to put it. Basically, we're basically relying on the Savinho don't get enough games, that Man City are willing to let him go, that they don't have excess amount of injuries. We're basically relying on everyone else, if that is what we are looking for. And that's a big if. I'm just starting to think that majority of the time, does Frank even intend to play with a 10? Or does he actually intend to use Paulinho, what he is actually best at, and that is an out-and-out DM, and that we actually did get Savvy to be as the inside forward to cut in and cover the 10 role as well, to do the drifting. Maybe we might have, that is actually what we went for. That's where the next 10, 12 games are going to basically tell. Because everyone's saying we need that 10. Of course we need that 10. But if we're not playing with a 10, then we don't need a 10. And then that's when you lose one of your wingers.
Didn't he?
That's what I'm saying. We don't know yet, do we? Yeah, we don't know exactly what he's going to be his main formation as such, because we've seen 4 different ways off of him, which I have no problem with. It's just usually after 12 games, 15 games, you start seeing the main formation that the manager use, and then the ones he'll adapt to game by game to certain games as such. Like a game against Liverpool, I'd rather play with a DM than a 10 personally, because I think you need it much more. Maybe he's going to rely on the wing-backs to actually let them do their wing-back job on going forward, using Paulinho as the DM to come back and give it free at the back when they go forward, like we did yesterday on many occasions. Maybe Savvy was actually bought to do that role, but time will tell over, let's say, 15 games as such. But we should have just got Grealish on loan.
Oh, don't upset me. Don't upset me. The number of numpty, I'll call him out, the number of numpty Spurs fans telling me he's not good enough for Tottenham.
Same.
Have you seen him this season?
Proper.
He looks on it, doesn't he?
Didn't he get player of the month? Didn't he, Grealish?
Yeah, and even yesterday, I was watching. I was watching the highlights again yesterday. He looks sharp. He looks fit. He looks up for it. But look, yeah. Listen, guys, Lubo, Danny's got a point, Lubo, hasn't he? Danny's got a point. Like it remains to be seen. We know tactically he's flexible. We know that he'll chop and change. But there will be those games, Lubo, where you've got to have a creator in chief, because, like Marlon said, in that first 45 minutes yesterday, whilst we did start to dominate, the domination was coming from a lot of corners, a lot of crosses to nobody. But there was no locksmith, was there? There was no, do you know what I mean? There was no creator in chief in that midfield to open a door.
I mean, just the whole thing, the way he's playing, the team selections. I mean, we looked at the team that he picked at 4:15, and it was like, what? You know, nobody expected him, honestly, to start with 10 at centre forward, did they? In fairness, I think we all. Well, it was a question of, is he going to play? He's going to play Paulinho. Who's he going to play next to him? Is he going to play Bergvall, Bentancur, or Sarr? I mean, the Bentancur situation was taken out of his hands because I don't think he got back to the UK with Richie till Thursday, because they played late, I think, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. So that was an easy selection in effect, because he's got more players. So, you know, he seems to rely for these away games. He's relying on Sarr as a 10, and you know, Sarr's playing well. Sarr, God, you know, this form. This is the form we've been waiting to see for 4 years. And Sarr's,
but not as a creator, right? Not as a
not as a creator. But I think the way he looked at it yesterday was, and my West Ham pals have told me, like, for the last year, that West Ham lacked legs in midfield. So if you put legs in, you got Bergvall, you got Sarr. Fully understood his way of thinking. You know, you put kids in that can motor around the pitch and get around. And so it proved. And apart from the first 15 minutes, I thought we were in control the whole game pretty much.
Can I ask a question, by the way? Do we all think that Bentancur was on the bench purely because he played in South America?
That's what Frank said.
I think, honestly,
but then he also said he watched the Bournemouth game, and there was a lot of problems, and the biggest problem was Paulinho and Bentancur being in there. So I think, it was taken out of his hands a little bit, but I think the change was going to happen no matter what, because if you go back to the Burnley game, when Paulinho and Bentancur didn't play, we did look slightly better because we were against the low block. So I think I think he would have made that choice even if Bentancur didn't come back late, because the fact that Bentancur,
So do we think for Tuesday night he'll keep the team as it is, and obviously Tell comes out and Richie starts?
I think Bentancur and Paulinho might swap out.
You think those two will swap?
I think those two will swap. Yeah,
that's a fair shout.
I think Villarreal will have better technical players across the park than West Ham, so we'll have a bit more of the football. Yeah. I'd be surprised if we don't mix it up because of that. I think yesterday, when you saw the midfield two of Ward-Prowse and Souček, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of looked and went, we can't be losing to this team, right? Maybe 3 years ago. Like, don't get me wrong, Souček and Ward-Prowse have both been good players at what they do for years, but as a two together, I thought... But Villarreal will be very tricky. They'll be very technical. They play more of a 4-4-2, I believe. So it's going to be a very different game.
Yeah.
My worry with playing that team, Lubo, and don't get me wrong, yesterday it worked. I thought it was perfect yesterday. My worry is in games where we need a bit more possession, I don't think that midfield three works, because I don't think any of those three put their foot on the ball and can control a game.
That's where you're looking at Simmons and Kudus to create for Richie.
No, I understand. I'm talking about the midfield. I'm talking about the midfield. I'm talking about Bergvall and Sarr do what they do as the box-to-box and the 2-8s that break the lines. Paulinho wins it, gives it, wins it, gives it, wins it, gives it. I think the problem is Bentancur's the only... By the way, I don't think Bentancur's amazing, by the way, but Bentancur's the only one for me that is the kind of, let me put my foot on it and have a look to see what's going on around me, which is why all summer I've said, I really think we need a ball-playing number 8 as well, but different story. So I don't know if he will go with that midfield three in the Champions League. I wouldn't, personally.
I think what was very noticeable was the amount of times you saw Simmons and Spence going wide of him and giving him support literally throughout the whole game. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was superb. And you could see, and we created an awful lot down the left, didn't we? So, I don't know, let's see, it's as I texted you yesterday, so it's impossible to second guess Frank with the team selection, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is good.
I don't think he knows yet, does he, who his best side is?
No, he'll work it out tomorrow probably. You know, the players will come back in, they'll do their training, they'll look at the training results and the figures, and they'll see who's good, who's struggling a little bit, who's a bit tired, etc. And they'll look at it. But I'm sure Frank's got an idea. You know, when these managers look at picking teams, they look at 4 or 5 games, don't they, in front, and they try and work accordingly. I think, you know, obviously you don't know, you know, with things like injuries, but I'm sure managers don't just look at this game and the next game. I'm sure they're looking 3, 4, 5 games in front. But you know, it's good. You know, Danso came on yesterday. That's fine. Richie came on yesterday. You know, you're not looking. I mean, Richie was an upgrade on sell. Danso came on for Mickey. I know game was gone. It was all Spurs. We were playing 10 men. Yeah, but you look at substitutions like this, and you think, do you know what? We're starting to get a squad.
Yeah,
just starting.
Yeah. Even watching the game, obviously, my assessment of the game was that even prior to them getting that red card, I actually thought that we were in the ascendancy. I thought the goal that got disallowed was a disgrace, as Arteta would say, disgratia, right? Like, it's unbelievable how, first and foremost, the ref who was standing right in front thought that was a foul. But then for the VAR to then think, actually, you know what, I'm not going to overturn that, was also a disgrace. And I will go even as far as saying that following corner where Van de Ven got clattered all the way to the ground, and them not even thinking, right, well, I've given the other as a foul, so I'm going to give this one as a pen. Again, I know I don't like moaning about refs, but this
but this goes back to what we all wanted. This is VAR not getting involved. You have to make a decision on exactly what you want in this game. Because 2 years ago, that's given, but it's taken time, and everyone's moaning, oh, why is it taking so long? But they've gone with the referee's decision. I thought what the referee did poorly with that goal was he should have given it, because whichever way it would have gone, VAR weren't overturning it, no matter what, whichever way. It's just the fact is that we've all moaned for the last how many seasons, and now that they're going with the referee's decision, we're moaning again.
No, I fully understand, Marlon, but let me say one thing, right? I bet you, because at the moment, the way I am feeling is that these VAR decisions that they're now going with the with the referee's decision in Spurs
decision. Yeah. No, they're doing it in most games. They're doing it in most games, and that's the reason. Yeah, they are, and that's the reason why everyone's moaning again, because they now want VAR to get involved, and this is the biggest problem.
No, listen, if they're gonna go for, if they're gonna be consistent, I'll be all for it.
But they're consistently getting it wrong as well, because the referee sometimes on the pitch is going to get it wrong. But then when they go the other way, when they go the other way, you're going in last year.
So, that's the thing. I get where you're coming from, but the proven fact is we've got the thickest referees in the top European teams.
That's the major issue with it. It's nothing to do with VAR. It's
hang on. And we've also got the worst VAR out of the top 5 leagues as well. I mean, the referees in England are officially the thickest, most inconsistent referees in Europe, basically, yeah? And our VAR is also along with the worst in Europe as well. In Italy, you do not see that. Yeah, we all make a mistake, but you do not see the amount of screw-ups.
Yeah, but
not the amount of screw-ups that they make in England.
More here, because we highlight a lot more, and the media.
Marlon is correct.
And their VAR is a lot quicker and better. Our referees have the worst record in Europe. In the aspect of the
this
VAR
is what
thing.
I was trying to say yesterday. Do I think they got the decision horrifically wrong? Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
Thank you.
But isn't this what everyone was asking for from VAR? Yes. This is the problem. No. And then when we don't get what we want from VAR, we all go, what about VAR? Hang on. Am I making it right? No, I'm not making it right. It was horrific. I looked at that and I remember going, you know, when you think, okay, maybe I'm being a fan and I'm being biased and I've reacted. Then I watched the first replay and I'm like, no, can't see anything. Then I see the second replay and I'm like, okay, there's a nudge into Van de Ven and that means he's nudged the person in front. And have they got that confused? Don't worry, VAR will sort this out. And then you realize, well, hang on, VAR, this isn't what they're there for. So it's, listen.
But Savva, isn't that also what happens?
Guys, this is why I hate VAR. I am an advocate. I'm old school. I'm an advocate for, if we're going to get all these mistakes, right? Just get all these mistakes with the referee's natural eye, right? Without the technology, because to have the mistakes with the technology makes the technology pretty redundant.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not. I think what's happening here, VAR is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's actually the refs that are the biggest issue in this, because that's where the problem lies. Because we can all see it. VAR, like you saw when the whole Liverpool incident happened, the VAR guy was speaking to them and said, "Are you sure you're making the right decision?" Right, and it was the referees that made the decision on that day, and that's why it all went pear-shaped. And I think this is the biggest issue that Howard Webb's now got, is that the referees are just not fit for purpose. That's not the right word. It's just they're getting a lot of things wrong. And now people want to see less of VAR. You're gonna get mistakes like yesterday. And it's not just us.
The whole thing.
Can I say
VAR should be scrapped. VAR should be scrapped. It's totally unnecessary. You've got a fourth official on the touchline with a monitor. But why do you need VAR?
Because of Charlie Austin and his speech. You remember Charlie Austin when Charlie Austin went completely nuts and went, they need help, they do this, they do that, and then everyone was moaning for VAR. VAR is getting more percentage of the decisions correct. The problem is that it's how long it's taking and everyone's at stadiums complaining as well. Now the problem you've got is you have to make a decision. Do you want to go back to what 88% they were getting right to the 97? This is where we have to make a decision as football fans what we want.
Marlon, I have no issue with VAR, right? In the sense of, like, again, I take you guys' point with regards to that situation there. When I point back to inconsistencies, the Fulham United game just last week, there was a push. The threshold was as high for whatever reason they gave that goal. You come to our game, there is a push where that was not even instigated by our own player, and all of a sudden the threshold is so low that all of a sudden they're scrapping that goal. I take your point with regards to the fact that we want VAR to be less involved in the game. I fully take that point. That's completely fair. But our referees, the standard of our referees is on their floor. It's absolutely ludicrous. The fact that they literally the other problem I have is that they also don't make decisions in order to rely on VAR. They either make decisions or not make decisions because they think VAR is going to overturn it.
Manny, can I ask a question?
Go back to the Euros and World Cup. Less people are complaining because everything was done in a certain style. It's the way the Premier League have implemented it is probably the bigger issue.
And how poor the referees are. We have the worst referees in the 5 leagues in Europe. It's official. It's official.
I think
it's official. I can bring it up.
The worst referees because
officially we have the most inconsistent referees in the top 5 leagues. Officially,
I think the quality between the top and the bottom is a bit like our league, where the top ones are the best at it.
Okay, either way, we are the bottom. We are the bottom. English referees
official how?
Officially the worst.
Official how?
By getting the most inconsistent and the worst making the wrong decisions. When you go and check it up in all the other leagues and that, the Premier League, the referee standards for the amount of mistakes they make, the inconsistency of the refs and everything is the worst out of the top 5 in Europe. One day you'll have a referee in England. I mean, all referees make mistakes, no two ways about it. But one way you'll sit there and the referee will make 2 total different decisions over the same situation in 2 different games. The English league, the refs are poor.
It's very subjective here, though, and that's the problem.
It is a good point, though, Marlon, on the World Cup. Like when you watch the international tournaments, and I suppose the international tournaments come with the best referees from all the different leagues, I guess. But you hardly speak about refereeing decisions and VAR as a whole. So maybe it's the way we interpret it in our league, I guess. I don't know.
Can I make 2 points, right? The first point is this, and again, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate with a lot of this. First point is, as I was trying to explain yesterday, a lot of fans don't actually understand the rules. I've said this for a long time. A lot of fans do not understand the official, let me use the correct terminology, because they're not rules, they're laws. A lot of fans don't know the laws of the game. That's not me included. They change so much. They are changed so much that the wording is subjective. So if you actually get any refereeing experts, and when you listen to the referees talk, they all talk about the subjectivity of the rules. That for me is where the biggest problem is that if you're going to have a lot of laws that change all the time, the subjectivity changes on those laws all the time, which means that the individual referee, their subjectivity of that law depends whether they're strict on it or not, which is where you get the discrepancies between, this happened in that game and he got a yellow, this happened in that game and he got a red. And this is the problems that the referees have. And they talk about, if you listen to the referees, they talk about that as well. But the second point for me is this, and I'm old enough to remember this, I'm sure some of you on this panel will be as well, that I remember the days of when we used to talk about reffing decisions being bad, and, we'd watch Match of the Day and everyone would go, oh my God, look at that decision. It's horrendous. And then it was forgotten about, right? Do you know what I mean? It was like, there were a few big ones like the Pedro Mendes one, for example, which went on forever and ever and ever. Still can't believe it wasn't given. But we were all told that VAR, this was all coming in so that we wouldn't have as many of these decisions. I feel like it's gone the other way. I feel like there is more scrutiny now and more decisions that we are talking about from a refereeing standpoint every single game because VAR is allowed to go back and look at everything. Before, I remember you might have something go wrong in a game and we all went, surely that was out, and then you've forgotten about it and everyone was, you don't know what you're doing and all that kind of stuff, right? I feel like because they've got the option to look at everything now, We've made it, fans made it worse, players have made it worse, because every time the littlest thing happens, we go, VAR, that, VAR, the game's slowing down. I would scrap it completely. This is just me, by the way, guys. You can all tell me I'm an idiot in a minute. I would scrap it completely and go back to having the ref, the two linesmen, the referee assistants, and the fourth official. I don't think football is any better for VAR. I've said that since its inception. Nothing's changed my mind. Just me.
I can see where you're coming from there.
Just to separate, by the way, sorry, just one point. Just to separate issues and things, right? Goal line technology, VAR, and then the offside, whatever Hawkeye offside thing that they do. Goal line technology, I'm all for it. The offside, whatever it is, because obviously that's not subjective. You're either offside or you're not. I'm absolutely happy with that as well. VAR, I wouldn't scrap it, but in my opinion, it just needs a revamp on what it can and can't get involved in, and give these officials the right to actually make an actual decision. That's my opinion in it.
But let's look at this weekend. Let's look at this weekend. Sorry, Dan, but let's look at this weekend. Every single game. There's probably 2 games this weekend where VAR had to make decisions where people umming and ahhing, and that was our game and Newcastle Wolves. But if you looked at 8 out of 10 of those games, nothing's happened. No one's even talking about VAR. No one's talking about referees' poor decisions, because the rest of the games just went to plan like they normally do. What you tend to find, and I think this is where Savva was right, in the sense of, because we're expecting a lot more out of VAR, because everyone's expecting it to be 100%. You're never going to get 100%.
Oh, you never get 100%.
And this is the problem, but us fans expected it when VAR came in. So because we're now expecting VAR to get involved, everyone's now looking at VAR as it's got to get it right. It's got to get it right. But hold on, we don't want it to take 5 minutes.
Look, we don't want VAR in on everything on 5 minutes. I get that. And I'm with Savva. You know what? If you're going to ditch it, ditch it. But VAR is there. Deal with it, like it or lump it, yeah? Right, VAR should be getting involved when the referee makes an almighty cock-up, like he did yesterday. VAR should get involved in a game-changing situation. Was that a penalty or not? Referee says, no, I don't think it was a penalty. VAR turn around and say to him, well, mate, he did actually take his legs out. Okay, referee goes and checks it. Okay, my bad, job done. In that aspect, referee's got an easier job than bloody ever, yeah? Than compared to the old referees, as all they have to do is ask their little man upstairs to do the job for them. And yesterday, right, does anyone disagree with me that referee cocked that up well and truly?
Yeah, what's that subject? That's a good question. Does anyone here think that was subjective?
So with that, I haven't spoke to no one yet who thought that situation, thought the ref made the right decision there, yeah? So on that, VAR should have looked at it and gone, Mr. Referee, we're here to help you. And go have a look at that again. You might have got that wrong. And if the referee stands there and then says, no, I'm not changing my mind, then VAR have to tell him, mate, you've basically got it wrong, because it's a game-changing situation. We ain't caring because we won that game 3-0. But if that would have been a cup final match, and that blatantly was not a foul, I think anybody with half a brain can see that was not a foul, let alone someone who's a referee. So then VAR should be stepping into it and saying, ref, you've got that one wrong. We are here to help you do that. Now, other things that happen out on the pitch, bit different, unless it involves a red card.
So we're taking power that away from the ref.
Hang on. Can I just say, Dan, in terms of yesterday, if this was May the 24th, and Arsenal beating us by 1 goal, those 2 decisions with Romero and Van der Ven have cost us the league. So for me personally, if you're going to have VAR, it's not about clear and obvious error. It's about putting right an error, like Hawkeye does on the tennis.
Yes. It was an error that the ref made. The ref cocked it up. VAR should have said, ref, you got it wrong.
Yeah, but didn't VAR come back and say, VAR even said that it was the push on Van der Ven to Cole Walker-Peters. They dismissed everything else before it. So actually, the decision that both refs and the VAR made, the decision still goes ahead.
Yeah, so what difference would it have made if VAR was saying it wrong as well?
But then it goes back to the incompetence, isn't it? Because if you played the game before, you know that Van der Ven was pushed. But also another issue that we have with VAR, right? And I don't know whether it's a Premier League issue or whether this happens across the other leagues, is the fact that as soon as VAR gets involved, for whatever reason, 99.9% of the time, the referee goes to the monitor and changes his decision. There are very, 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 very few times where you have a referee go and watch the situation in slow-mo, which is what it should be, make up a decision whether to stick or twist. And I think that's also a situation whereby why VR don't want to get involved, because if they know that if they get involved, automatically the referee just decides, okay, I'm changing my decision. I don't know, but maybe it's a Premier League thing, maybe it's not a Premier League thing, but I don't know why that happens also as well.
Can I just
get rid of it? I think it's caused. One second, Lubo. I'll come to 1 second. I just think it's caused more debate than it's actually solved. You know, when they first brought it in, you remember we were told it was for clear and obvious. Now it's used for everything. Now every time a ball hits somebody's hand, everyone wants a penalty. Now every time there's a shove, they want a free kick. Every time there's a tackle, we want to go from a yellow to a red. It just feels like the problem is, and this is why I have the problem with what Dan said, which is why I wouldn't do what Dan said, is you're now saying that VAR ref the game and not the ref. And if you're going to start saying that VAR ref it and not the ref, we're now in a very difficult position where no one's really reffing the game. Where
only
you've got a ref
situation, Savva, only game-changing situations like yesterday could have cost someone a game. Yesterday could have cost someone a cup. All because the referee got it wrong. Okay, he can't see everything, I get that. But that's when you expect the VAR to step in and say, that's a game-changing situation. Ref, go have a look at it at least. Things like that. Other things I can totally see them being left out of it.
I understand. I just think if imagine the option wasn't there. I know some people love it. Imagine the option wasn't there. Back to the old days. These decisions happened. And I think most mature adults realized mistakes are made, right? Now, it doesn't matter. In the heat of the moment, we're so angry with the ref and the linesman. But in the when everything calms down, you realize human error, mistakes are made. Now, there's no room for that because even if VAR like yesterday, even if VAR don't look at that, if VAR had looked at that and gone, actually, yeah, we still believe that everything was fine there. Now we're angry with the ref and the technology. I just don't know what purpose it serves. However, there will be a decision that goes our way, and what the people who love VAR will say, and rightly so, they'll turn around and go, see, this is why we've got VAR, because of the decision that did go for us. So, I don't know. Go on, Lubo.
Couple of things. Firstly, the other thing that for me, it kills that natural spontaneity, that adrenaline rush when you score a goal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lie. That is a complete
I'd rather
lie.
have it gone. I'd rather have it gone.
That's a lie. Because let's go back to Kulusevski against Sheffield United last year. Everybody was celebrating. Everyone forgot VAR. It's down to the game and how you feel. And I think a lot of people say that, but when you're at games and stuff, you still cheer. And then you kind of go, but I think that's like everyone will cheer first. Like Europa League final. Did you not cheer straight away or did you wait?
Yeah, but Marlon, in general, I'll be honest.
But you might. But I'm talking the majority of the fans that say this. Like Europa League final, everybody cheered when Johnson scored. No one thought in their head. Lucas Moura last minute against Ajax, everybody cheered. No one, VAR was there then. I think everyone just uses that and says that, but don't, when they're actually there and they're in the moment and the game, people forget about VAR.
But Marlon, hang on. This is why I'm going to disagree with you. Because for me, I don't think there's anybody that in the back of their mind, the moment the ball hits the back of the net, they have that instant moment of elation. And what's everybody's first thought after that happens?
But you still cheer. No.
But Marlon, I'm not saying don't. Okay, let's go through the stages of this, right? So the ball hits the back of the net. The first thing we do is go, way, right? What's the first thing you do when your hands come out the air? You go, let me look around, hang on, and you go, oh, fucking VAR's got involved.
Didn't we do that? Didn't we do that before with the linesman back in the day when there was none of that? We look at go to goal, and I go, oh, let's look at the linesman as he given.
Yeah, but at least, Marlon, at least when that happened, right? If you turned around and saw the Lino's done that, that was the decision. The decision was Lino got his flag up. The referees never overruled the linesman. They went, "Oh, flags up, offside, goal, goal."
But everyone still cheers. This is what I'm getting. This is my point. Everyone still cheers.
Yeah, I get, yeah.
And that's the problem. Everyone says they're not, but actually, when you go and look at when Liverpool's not Liverpool, but when Liverpool scored, Szoboszlai scored the free, everyone still cheers. When we score last-minute goals, we still cheer. Liverpool against Newcastle still cheer, and then they go and look for VAR after. But the elation of the game is still there. That's not changed.
But you don't have to wait 3 minutes while they're checking, do you? Players get cold, calf injuries, muscle injuries, hamstring injuries. It all contributes.
But that's down to VAR as a whole. That's not down to cheering. You said cheering. I'm not debating that part.
Hold on. The reason why this game is so great is it's fast moving. It's not like rugby where they stop. Cricket where they stop. This is football.
Yeah, but you still do. But when the goal, you said I've stopped cheering or on along them lines when goals go in, but you don't. I said that you still carry. I think everybody still does exactly the same thing. But as I've said, there's that after you've done the cheering, it's like, has VAR got involved? And that's the next thing.
It spoils it, doesn't it? It spoils it, and then you.
Not really. I think because we all still celebrate in the same way. We all, I will use the Europa League as a prime example. We all still celebrate it. We still all enjoyed it. And the goal went in, and VAR was there. We still enjoy those moments as fans. Unfortunately, I think when people say that, it's because they don't like it, and they don't. They just kind of just don't go down that way. But I believe everybody on this panel, when that goal went in the Europa League final, cheered straight away. Didn't even think, VAR might get involved. Cheered straight away.
Just quickly, sorry, Scott. I don't know what this means. I've got mods in the chat because I can't have the chats deal with the background of YouTube and monitor every single comment. If anyone is being personal to anyone else, please stop it. But I've not seen anything. If you are, please stop. Scott, I've not seen. I can't see it.
No, I haven't seen anything.
I haven't seen it. Scott, I can't see it, mate. I don't know if you're being a bit sensitive, but I can't see anyone being rude to anybody else. And certainly no one on the panel is being rude to each other. So I don't know what you're referring to.
Sav, can I answer Spurs CC? He says, you play 38 games. The reason you miss out on something is just down to the referee in the final game. Jesus Christ. Right, let me just give you a little history lesson, my friends. 1971 was the year Arsenal won the double. And in Leeds' penultimate game, Jeff Astle was about 10 yards offside. The linesman missed it. Right, VAR would have come in at this time, even though I don't agree with VAR. VAR would have picked up the offside. Leeds lost 2-1 at home to West Brom. Arsenal won at Spurs, and they won the league and went on to win the double. Had that goal been disallowed, then I think Leeds would have won the league and Arsenal wouldn't have won the double, which was a shame because it was just 10 years after we won it. So there you go. That's possibly why VAR would have been in 1971. VAR actually would have done a good job there because he was miles offside.
Another one of Lubo's examples from 50 odd years ago. I absolutely love it. This is like whenever I'm debating with Lubo about Spurs and he goes, but Sav, in the 1968 season, and I'm like, but that's got,
This is why Lubo. This is why everyone loves Lubo.
Let's move on. My point is, Spurs CC was saying, the last game of 38. Well, this happened in the last but one game of 42. So it does happen. It does happen. Let's move on. Hold on, what about Villa last year? They should have been in the Champions League in their last game of the season in 4 months ago.
Yeah, true. Yeah. True. Dan, mate, I'm seeing some of your comments to Chris. Can you please, I can see them. They are antagonistic. Please, just.
Then go check his comments out as well. He's preaching on everything calling this. I asked him, has he dealt with VAR? Check his comments as well then.
Okay, I'll have a look. I can only see what I can see on the screen right now. Anyway, let's move on from VAR, guys. Let's move on from VAR. Second half. So we've gone in 0-0. We should have been 1-0 up. Second half, though, I thought we came out really well. second half. I thought it looked instantly like Frank had, before the red card, by the way, I thought instantly you could see we were on the ball, we were dominating. And let's be brutally honest. I'll tell you what, when we're talking about Luba, we were talking about defensive coaching the other week. Remember when we were on the phone? I was walking the dogs. We were talking about defensive coaching. If I was West Ham's coaching staff watching how they defended that corner for Sarr's goal, not just the fact that Papa Sarr was marked by nobody, but the golden rule of defending, right? A set piece. All of their players were flat-footed. None of them were side on, ready to head the ball away. But never mind, that's a West Ham problem. Good header from Sarr, Lubo. And before you know it, Spurs are 1-0 up, and it was deserved, I think, at that stage. I thought we were just starting to get into a little bit of control.
Yes, we hadn't created much first half in terms of shots on goal, but the corner count was building, and they came out and literally, I mean, from then onwards, it was all Spurs. Then Paulinho got whacked, didn't he? 7 minutes later. I mean, that was a horrendous tackle. I mean, the referee gave red literally within 5 seconds of the tackle. It was right there. That's right. That was our defending last year. So, yeah. And sorry, just on that point, I just wonder whether West Ham were zonal marking, but that obviously didn't work. And the game, I mean, literally from Sarr, lovely header. You know, he's scored more this season than he has, I think, in the last 3 or 4.
He's played well.
He is. He's
bar one game. He's actually done. He's done respectable. Bar that last game, this is the best we've seen him play. Yeah, this is the best we've seen him play. No two ways about it. The second half off Bergvall was one of few games so far where he actually managed to produce. Where I said he hasn't produced, and that is in the final third, because that's usually what lets him down. That last pass or that last shot or that last header, whatever. Yesterday, he got it right. Now let's see him improve consistently, because he's only a young player anyway, and you can blatantly see there's a good player there. I was very impressed with that header and the way he covered that second half. First half, he was pretty irrelevant, like most of the team, except Van der Ven and Kudus, but he definitely came into it in the second half, and he got it right. So let's see him improve from that.
Can I say one thing, right, on the point that Savva just mentioned? And obviously you guys and Marlon all know my love for Ange for last season, right? But this is one of the things that definitely should have put him in jail with regards to the not having a set piece coach. Now, if you watched our whole first half, all our corners were hit to the front side of the goal, right? So, and every single time they just put Souček at the front, who was literally just heading all the balls out, bar that goal that went in. We went in into a halftime, and whoever the set piece coach is, M. Frank said, right, you know what? They know that we build up from the back and then get the players to the front. So let's do something. The people that are building from the back to go to the front block every single West Ham player from going backwards and just put the ball to the back post. And that's what they did. And all of a sudden, Sarr was there free to just get the ball in.
Yeah, but where this is, because if you've watched West Ham in the few games that they've had this season, they've actually struggled at that front post. And they've obviously then gone put Souček there. For me, I think the players should have been a bit more intelligent. They didn't need a set piece to coach to tell them. They should have a different plan. He should have been able to say, actually, Souček's there, let's go to the back. I know they did it in the second half and they probably were told, but it's that having that many set pieces and many scenarios to be able to do it. And I think they realised that Souček, what they could, if all they had to do was bypass Souček, and West Ham were all over the place. This is just a West Ham problem, full stop, this season. They can't defend set pieces.
But Marlon, how refreshing is it after what we've seen for the last two years to see these set pieces, the set piece deliveries from both Xavi Simmons and from Kudus were absolutely on a sixpence every time.
And it took 120 million to do it.
but do you know the funny thing about it is, I think we would have had even more joy if we'd had a target man up front. Because let's be fair, Mavropanos and Kilman are big dudes, right? They're big lads. and Tell's not a tall striker that you aim for, is he? But our set pieces, I thought, were, and not just today, in the other games we played as well, it just looks so much better, doesn't it? It's almost as though, what's the word I'm looking for? It's almost as though they do this on the training ground and they coach. Do you know what I mean? It looks good.
And if you look at Romero's goal against PSG just after half time, very similar, different side, very similar to Sar's.
It's almost as if we have a set piece coach.
That's right.
Yeah, because even the goal that was disallowed, because the way the players were and where they set up in all different scenarios, it worked. And it seems to be that the set pieces, the players know where they need to be. The players crossing the ball know what areas they need to put it in, and it just seems to be a lot of it's being put on the goalkeeper, which you kind of see what them lot down the road. I'm not going to mention it. They do quite similar with Rice and Saka, where they just put it on the goalkeeper, and Gabriel's the one that's normally there. And I think we're trying to do the same now with kind of Romero, and I think we might see a lot more goals and headed goals from corners from this season, hopefully. But
this is why when people were mocking Arsenal. Like when people go, oh, Arsenal do this, Arsenal do that, I'm jealous. I don't think that's anything bad. If you're turning around to a football team and going, oh, they've scored from a corner again, isn't that
the whole... We're doing it.
So why, Savva, why is the criticism then? Why are fans, Spurs fans, rival fans are saying, oh, Spurs are just a set-piece team now? What's all that about?
Because people don't like it when you rock the apple cart. Yeah.
It's banter, isn't it? But the problem is, if a team gets a corner or a free kick, why is scoring from that seen as some sort of negative? Like, isn't that the whole point of having that set piece? And that's the whole point of it. Is the whole point it's there for? A chance to score. And I'd rather score from them than don't.
The corners actually looked threatening, didn't they, for a change? Yeah. Because for a long time, our corners have not looked threatening in any way. And there was a couple of times, if no one would have touched it, the ball would have actually gone in the back of the net, I think, with a couple of corners taken, the way they were swung in. I was impressed with them.
Look how many major games, whatever competition, particularly like World Cups and Euros, are decided with set pieces. So many, whether it's a free kick outside the box or a corner or a free kick swung into the box rather than a shot. Listen, it's a big tool for scoring. Look how many Arsenal scores last season from free kicks. Gabriel was one of their leading goal scorers, wasn't he?
And wouldn't you love it if that was? Wouldn't we love to sit at the end of the season and say Romero's got 8 goals from corners?
Absolutely.
Like you wouldn't knock it, would you?
I tell you what's so big. By the way, I've got to say, Ron, how good were Romero and Van der Ven again yesterday?
Well, I was just about to say, we're talking about corners for us.
Every other game.
How good are we? How better do we feel comfortable when we have a corner against us as well now? I think that's been a massive change. I don't feel like I know Vicario doesn't command his box as much, but what I've noticed when West Ham were having corners yesterday, I weren't feeling like every single one was going to go in. And I think that's been a major...
Let me ask a question, Marlon. I'm going to say this. This might piss a few people off, but you know me, guys. I've never been scared to say something that might piss people off. I think now you've seen Frank come in and actually organise a back four, right? Let's be fair. All right, it looked in tatters against Bournemouth. It didn't look good, but in general, we've conceded 1 goal in 4 games, right? Mm-hmm. Now we've seen that. I think more than anything, and Lubo's going to hate this, I think it's actually showing that the weak link at the back is actually Vicario. If I'm honest, I think that now the back four sorted out, I'm more nervous about Vicario than I am any of the back four.
Don't be.
No.
He's one of the best shot stoppers. At the end of the day, I'd rather have a shot stopper.
His shot stopping yesterday was horrific.
He nearly screwed it for us about 3 or 4 times. That little save that came down there where he should have caught that. I could have bloody caught that. Yeah,
he's talking about the one at the end. He's talking about
No. I'm talking about the one that came through everyone. He had all the time in the world to go down and get it, and he rebounded off his hands, hit his face, and rolled off. Or when he jumped out with 10 people there and tried punching it and landed on top of everyone. Or the other one where Van der Ven was the one who got in front of him. I'm more bothered about Porro. I think he is our liability at the back personally. But Vicario is he's a great shot stopper, nothing more. That's all he is.
I agree. I think in a year or two's time, I think, and again, this is why I said, now that you've got a coach there coaching the team, you actually now start to see people in their actual position. If that makes sense. You know, because for 2 years, all we've heard is, I can't judge a Dogie because it's under Ange. I can't judge Romero because it's under Ange. Right, you get the drift. Now I'm seeing Vicario. I think he is awful with the ball at his feet, like truly awful with the ball at his feet. I think he doesn't command his box. I think he flaps.
That's the biggest worry.
He flaps a hell of a lot. He's
the biggest worry.
I'll tell you what, watching Donnarumma, now I know. But watching Donnarumma come out and control his penalty area, and when he gets a punch, the ball goes to the halfway line, I go, that's controlling your area. Vicario flaps, not good with his feet. His shot stopping's very good, but lately he's been spilling a lot. He's been spilling a lot. So I don't mind Vicario, by the way. I think he's okay. I don't think I feel like he's for me, I think he can easily be upgraded upon. I really do.
I think Vicario is the keeper you get before you start getting serious. That's my opinion, because he is a very good shot stopper, and the reason why the reason why that's not something to be sniffed at is because if you bring in what's the name of our second keeper, Kinski, right, into goal, you can see the difference in the shot stopping between the two, even though Kinski is very good with his feet, right? However, when very good at commanding his box, 100%. However, if we are going to be a serious club at some point, we will need to replace Vicario. That's just my honest opinion. And I really like Vicario. I don't think you can teach him to be good with his feet. And at this point in time, I don't know how you teach him to be commanding his box. He's 28, turning 29.
Manny, I think controlling the box, yes. I think with your feet. Now, the interesting thing is, I'm just listening to a couple of the pros on Talk Sport the other day. I think it was Danny Murphy was talking with somebody, and they were saying that they don't understand this whole emphasis. We've changed now. We had sweeper keepers, and now you're looking at ball playing keepers.
That's what a sweeper keeper is, Ian.
No. Well, hang on 1 second. No.
That is what a sweeper keeper is.
Ian, I'm not even talking about him needing to be like Beckenbauer with a ball at his feet, but I'm talking about a basic 5-10 yard pass. He always looks like he's going to mess it up.
Have a look at his stats for 5-10 yard passes. It's pretty good. Hang on, hear me out.
Lay off.
I love Luba's smirk. He was like, you better educate yourself here. Don't let me bring
this. Before he got injured last season, his pass rate for short passes was 93%.
Sure, and I would expect him to be able to do that. But are you telling me on this panel? Tell me now, right? By the way, before people lose their mind in the chat, I don't hate Vicario. I'm not saying, oh my God, we must sell him immediately. I just think Vicario is a decent keeper. No more, no less. I don't look at him and go, yeah, we've got a great one here. I don't look at him and go, we've got a dud. I just think he's all right. I expect this is the sort of keeper Brentford buy. I think this is the sort of keeper Brentford or Palace. Well, hang on, but Lubo, hang on. You say that. I don't think he's anywhere near one of the best goalkeepers in the league by any stretch of the imagination.
Not an goalkeeper.
He's decent. He's in the top 5 shot stoppers, definitely.
Right, shot stopper, I think he's top 3.
Stopping is not the only part of being a goalkeeper.
No.
Exactly.
But it was interesting, because just coming back to where I started, Danny Murphy was saying that we expect the worst in terms of playing with our feet. The goalkeeper is the worst out of all 11. And we're expecting the goalkeepers now to be as good with their feet as our players.
It's called modern day football, Ian. It's called adapting to modern day football. I had this massive debate with you before. Go and get an old goalkeeper like Oliver Kahn, one of the best shot stoppers ever, in my opinion. he would not be a good goalkeeper now. Why? Because to be a goalkeeper, you have to be a sweeper keeper, which in your words, is a ball-playing goalkeeper. That is what a sweeper keeper is.
Can I ask a question?
A keeper has to be able to do with his feet. He has to be able to go forward. He has to be able to come off his line. We're not in the 70s, 80s anymore, Ian, where it's stand on your, or 90s, like Peter Cech would or whatever, and stand on your line. A keeper has to be able to do more than stop shots.
Hang on, Dan, let me ask this question, right?
Sorry,
and I know this is blasphemy. If ever anybody, when I say you, the royal you, right? If ever you say that a player isn't the greatest that plays for Tottenham Hotspur, people lose their freaking mind, right? This falls into the category for me, right, of remove yourself from being a Spurs fan. Now look at the player. And I always say this with loads of players, right? So when people go, this player's really good, cool. If he played for Villa, what would you think? If he was playing at Newcastle, what would you think? And if we're being honest, you'd look at Vicario and go, yeah, he's all right. I don't think he's any more than that. I haven't said he's shit. I've not said, oh my God, this is a great big issue and we're going to not get Europe because of him. But I just watch too much flapping. I never, ever feel confident when the ball comes into our penalty area. Ever, any cross at all. I never feel like he's gonna command that area. I think he's okay. I think he's all right, but I don't know what the problem is.
Ian, would you upgrade him? Ian, would you upgrade him? I would.
Would you upgrade him?
Yeah, to a much better keeper. If we're serious, if we want to, push on.
Who's a better keeper, Vicario or Raya? Who's a better overall keeper? We had this debate before, Ian.
Well, listen, personally, they're two very good keepers.
Who's a better overall keeper?
Wait a minute. I'm biased. I like Vicario. If you're going to say one or the other, to me, they're 2 3s and a 6. But Raya has cost Arsenal a lot more goals than Vicario has. Vicario had those 2 mares against Wolves and Forest, where he was to blame for 3 or 4 goals. But apart from that, he's hardly cost us a goal in just over 2 seasons.
Is he better than Dean Henderson?
Again, I like Henderson. I think he's a super keeper. If you say to me,
is he better than Emi Martinez
instead of Vicario? For me, that would be okay.
Hang on. No, Lubo, you're ruining my flow. Is he better than Henderson?
I think they're on a par.
Okay. Is he better than Emi Martinez?
No, I think Martinez is better.
Is he better than the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper, Sells?
Again, I think the two of them are on a par because Sells, for me, is a shot stopper.
Okay. Is he better than... Is he better than... I can never remember his name. The Fulham goalkeeper.
Leno.
Oh, God, yes.
But oh, God, yes. Why? Oh, God, yes. Leno had a great year last year.
No, for me, Vicario is different class to Leno.
I don't think you've watched
Okay. Explain. Based on what?
Okay, I'll tell you what, based on. If you judge a player for their primary role. If it's a forward, you will judge him on how many goals he scores. If it's, say, a 10, you'll judge him on how many he creates. If it's a goalkeeper, you'll judge him on how many goals he saves the team, how many points he wins the team. This is all about shot stopping. To me, sorry, I'm old school. You can be, you can have a goal. Kinski is better than Vicario with his feet. But I sat behind the goal at Arsenal when he let Trossard shot through his under his body, and that cost us the match at the Emirates last season. I sat front row right behind the goal at Villa when Murphy's shot went straight through his fingers after 50 minutes.
Okay, but can I get to my point of me asking about?
I've never seen Vicario let a ball through his legs, through his fingers, through his hands. I'm sorry,
Can I? He's not disrespected. I said he's a great shot stopper, but the rest of his game is wanting. My point is this: the keeper. I could have gone on. My point is this: all those goalkeepers I've just mentioned, by the way, I don't think there's any difference between them really and Vicario. That's my point. It wasn't that I think those guys are great. I just think in this league, I think now you've got Donnarumma. I think Donnarumma and Alisson, for me, are on another level to the others.
Absolutely.
Light years.
I think they are light years ahead. After that, I don't think there's much of a muchness between any of the goalkeepers, really. If I look at Pope, if I look at Vicario, Sells, Leno, Martinez, this wasn't me saying I think they're all better than Vicario. This was my point, is that I think all of them are like that. So I don't mind Vicario, but I do shit myself every time a cross comes in. I do, because he's got, for a big guy, he doesn't control his area.
And then the other thing is,
that's my worry.
This is the debate I had with Ian and James and also Benji, if I remember right, with them all telling me he does command his area. No, he bloody doesn't. You hear him up the other end of the pitch all day long. As soon as it comes into his box, he shuts up shop. You don't hear a word out of him until someone makes a screw up, or he does. When it comes out for catching the ball, he's got slightly better. Ian, if you're going to look on it in the aspect of, well, you're old school, well, then you've fallen behind in football, basically. Then you're not up to date with football. Modern day football, a goalkeeper has to do more than be able to stop a shot. Yes, that's the prime priority. But how many times have you seen? How many times have you seen him get the ball and then totally screw it up? When we were with Ange as well, but I don't blame him so much on that one, where he can't pass come love nor money. Half the time he kicks it, it goes off the bloody pitch. Whenever he comes out, none of the defence know he's coming out because he don't say a word and just lands on top of them half the time. 3/4 of the time he goes to punch the ball and nearly breaks his wrist in the process because he's at such a dodgy angle and barely manages to punch it out the bloody box. Overall, as a shot stopper, excellent goalkeeper. Nothing more, nothing less. Raya is more complete as a keeper overall of what he can do with passing, with punching, command of the area, and everything else than Vicario. Vicario is a shot stopper.
Raya's more of a risk taker, isn't he? Raya's more of a risk-taking goalkeeper.
So he talks to his defence as well. Yeah,
right.
He talks to his players
as well.
You've
got goalkeepers down the years like that, like Fabian Barthez. Right, was a fantastic goalkeeper, but we all knew he had a little bit of the flamboyant in him, which every now and then would bite him on the arse. But by the way, I find it hilarious that if you don't think a player's great, it's called disrespect. I'm not disrespecting it. As I've said, for me, Vicario is a 6.5, 7 out of 10. That's where I rate him as a goalkeeper. I've seen much better in a Tottenham shirt. Right, in my years, I've seen much better in a Tottenham shirt. So for me, I won't apologise for wanting better. I won't apologise for wanting better. It's the same when people all day today, I've had people going, "Oh, you're really horrible to tell," and I'm like, "What?" Because I want better. So I'm not apologising. Nah,
do you think Vicario's a good passer of the ball, Ian? Do you feel safe when he's got the ball at his feet to pass it out? Short ball or long ball?
I don't worry. I haven't seen him cost us a goal that way, Dan. So I'm sorry. I'm.
Okay, if you want to go like that, I've seen.
Is that the way to judge it, Lubo? What about the times where he's mispassed it out and the other team have failed to capitalise? Do we just ignore that?
Like, or they've got the throw on, or they've got the throw on, and then it's gone to a goal.
He did flap at one of the corners, and it's just
you can't expect perfection from any player. You know, look at
this is your go-to. This is your go-to. This is your go-to. Whenever you're about to be putting a pretzel in your argument, your go-to is like, it's like when me and you were debating the transfers the other day. Life's not fair. Yeah, but that's a throwaway comment in the middle of an argument about nothing. Like, isn't it? Like, it's.
But you were arguing about a fait accompli the other day. You can't change it. We haven't bought an 11. It was a mistake by the club. They should have replaced some, but they haven't. So how can we get around that? That's my way of thinking. I can moan about it.
Again, I'm gonna bring you up on this because I like to say things to people's faces rather than behind their backs. That's absolute fucking nonsense because all you do is talk about the last 25 years. Do you remember when Harry Redknapp was? No, let me finish. Do you remember when Harry Redknapp wasn't given these players in 2010? Right. Do you remember in 2009 when this happened? Do you remember when Sadio Mane was at the training ground? Do you remember Bruno Fernandes? So all of that is exactly what you've just said. It's already happened, so you can't change it. That's your way of thinking. That's not how you operate in your debates. So please do not pretend that is how you operate.
Right, but Harry Redknapp, that's finished. That's history. We're still in this season. So you don't know. Frank might work a way that we don't miss having a left winger. the results might be that good that you turn around and you say, what?
That's got nothing to do with the fact that if we were talking about that we're allowed to talk about that.
I'm just looking forward. That's all. Because we're in the middle of
suddenly now Neely's gone, you're looking forward.
Yeah, we've just started to
see. Look forward, Lubo. You look forward.
This is ridiculous. This is the one man. You ask him anything and he'll go, 25 years, Sav. 25 years. And now all of a sudden, I like to look forward.
We're in a very nice place at the moment. We've bought 4 very good players, or loaned 2, bought 2 very good players. Has gone. Lewis's children are promising the earth, and we're 3rd in the table after 4 games. We've won 3.
Have they promised the earth? Hang on. You're setting yourself up there to hate them again. Have Lewis's children promised the earth? I haven't seen it.
No, well, listen. If you see all the quotes, the quotes.
So again, so I see what you're doing.
To what Frank said as well, that he's had meetings with them this week as well. You know, and what they're saying they're going to help him with, etc., etc. It's all good. It's all promising. So for me, I'm quite happy. One thing.
Away from that, Lubo, do you know what was really funny? If I picked any player to discuss, right? Vicario. Yesterday we were doing a Dogie, Spence, Porro, Van de Ven, Romero, Bergval, Saar, Benton. The way the chat reacts to whenever a Spurs player is critiqued, you would think we are treble winners. Honestly, every single Spurs player, according to chat rooms, they are all the best. And Savva, you're harsh. Cool. So we are winning the league, right? Because every time I suggest we need to upgrade a player, I'm told disrespectful. Cool. So we're winning the league. I genuinely don't know what to say anymore. You can't critique anyone. You can't say anything.
Well, fans are emotional. They want their team to do well. They love it when we're winning. We're 3rd in the table. You know, people want to dream. That's what being a fan is all about.
Luba, the only thing I'm just going to bring you up on the whole Kingsley thing. I know you said you saw Kingsley make mistakes. I want to see Kingsley where he's got a proper back 4 in front of him first before I make a judgment, because he never had one moment where he had Porro, Van de Ven, Romero, and Udogie in front of him. Maybe we will see where the shots are coming in from different angles of the way it's all been set up. Maybe we'll see a better Kingsley with those 4, where Vicario's had those in front of him for all this time.
Marlon, those 2 shots, those 2 specific examples.
But they happened. Fraser Forster was making those mistakes because we had people like Archie Gray and Ben Davis sitting at the back. And if you remember correctly, that shot from Trossard was a mistake from, I think it was Spence or Udogie on the left back.
It was
Bassuma. Gave the ball away.
Bassuma lost it in midfield.
Yeah, Bassuma. Yeah, so the mistakes were happening all round. And for me, and even the Villa game, what I'm saying is, until I see Kingsley with a proper back 4 in front of him, that's when I'll make the judgment on Kingsley as well. But right now, for me, Vicario, good goalkeeper, he just worries me about commanding his box. That I can get away with him not being good with his feet because he's a good shot stopper. But yesterday he flapped at a corner, and it was only because we are now set up properly where these mistakes are not happening for us. Because corners against a lot of the time was down to him not coming out for them. That was all.
He did it in the Europa League final.
Can I also say something, right? Yeah, another point with the modern game, right, is the fact that your goalkeeper should one be your 11th player. Unfortunately, that's where we are, right? So the keeper gives you that outlet whereby when you're getting pressed and it's getting too much, you are able to recycle to your goalkeeper, and your goalkeeper can be able to then recycle to your players, right? Again, that's using the ball with his feet. But also what they are also there to do sometimes is to invite the pressure to take out a few players from the opposing team when you're building up play. And that is where we start lacking as a team with Vicario, because as soon as Vicario gets the ball, especially when it's on that left, on his left, it's literally, I'm literally there thinking, please release it, please release it, please release it. And that's what he doesn't allow. But again, as the others have said, I'm happy, I'm okay with Vicario with regards to, we've got other priorities. But if we do want to become a serious team, we will have to upgrade Vicario. That's just factual.
Agreed. Can I just say though, And big up, James. Love you to bits. But why is everything called hate? Who hates Vicario? This is where I've never understand so many grown-ups that hear somebody being critiqued and go, "You hate him." Don't hate him. I said he's a good goalkeeper. No more, no less. Why is that hate? Unbelievable. By the way, Luka Modric has just scored for AC Milan for anyone that cares about RX.
It's that thing, Savva, that we've had for a long time here at Spurs, in the aspect of we can say what was good about a game, but if you mention anything bad about a game,
you're
negative,
not allowed.
You're toxic negative. Okay, we won the game 3-0. Brilliant. But I'm sorry, there's still parts of that game you need to pick out.
Because there's still
along with the good parts as well, because it's a whole 90 minutes.
There's still
Dan,
a Bournemouth.
I've had this for years. I've had this when talking about Eric Dyer, Ndombele, Lo Celso, Sanchez, Aurier, Sessegnon. Fans will just stick up for everyone in a Spurs shirt, and that's fine. But why don't we win everything then? If this is the case, if all of these players are as amazing as everyone makes out, why aren't we winning everything?
It's the same with the players. It's like if we have a striker up there and he has 15 shots on goal and scores one, everyone, but he scored a goal. I'm like, well, hang on a minute. He had 14 other clear-cut chances and messed it. Oh, you're just negative. What you want about this? Well, hang on a minute. If my striker's had 15 shots on goal, I maybe expect more than one goal. But now you're just toxic negative.
Hey, Brendan Johnson scored in the Europa League final. He's good, mate.
Well, he actually got given the goal because they couldn't work out whether it was him or the keeper, wasn't it? So they give him the goal.
So
it's just you cannot say nothing about the player. You
can
only say his good points. You can never say his bad points. Otherwise, you hate him and despise it. Tell you what, the way we've just spoken about Vicario and we hate him and everything, why don't we just go and crucify him? You know what I mean? As all we said is that he's an excellent shot stopper, but leaves a lot to be desired on other side. No, tell you what, let's just throw stones at him as well, yeah? Come on, people, lay off.
So, can answer Tottenham Trevs in their comments. Did Vicario save one penalty against PSG? Firstly, the 5 penalties were good penalties. And secondly, if you remember, I don't remember anybody knocking David Seaman in Euro 96 when the Germans banged 5 penalties past him.
I did.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know. If people
has he saved a penalty in a Spurs shirt yet? I don't know the answer to this question, by the way. I'm just asking.
I think one. I think he's saved one. Don't ask me to remember it. I just think
I can't remember. I'm not knocking it. I genuinely can't. I genuinely can't remember it. Anyway, look, moving on from Vicario. Guys, look. I mean, yesterday, look. So we got the win, 3-0. Everyone's very happy, right? Three goals, none conceded. We move up the table. Look. It's an interesting one. I want to talk. There's a few players that we need to talk about. There are, and one of them is going to be Matisse Tell. Sorry, it's going to be because this guy is now slowly but surely being under the microscope every game now. Archie Gray left out of the squad. What does that mean for him? Are we seeing now that, as I've said all along, that Archie Gray is not part of the plans properly, and he is going to be the odd man out? And then on the positive side, I want to say I thought Kudus, I think, has been very good. I know he hasn't got his goal yet, but I think Kudus, very good again. Really drags us up that pitch, takes his man on, wins loads and loads of corners by getting crosses in that are blocked. And also, I thought yesterday as well, Bergvall, second half, had a very, very good. First half, I thought was a bit anonymous. Second half, I thought he was excellent. So two different sides of the tale there, if anyone wants to take that and lead it wherever it may. And by the way, you lot in the chat, smash that like button. There's 216 likes in an hour and 34 minutes. Guys, come on. That is absolutely shocking. I know the transfer window's shut, but what are we doing here? Like, smash the like button. And we've had 2 subscribers all night. 2. Come on, people. Smash that like button. Please subscribe. Subscribe to all my guests as well. If any of my mods would be so kind to put all their links in the chat, that would be absolutely amazing as well. Who would like to start on the good and the bad?
Should we talk about Bergvall?
Whoever wants to take it in whichever direction they want.
Don't want to start with Archie Gray, Lubo.
He was like, let's talk about the positives, guys.
Yeah, positives first. Positives.
Anyway, listen, Marlon, Archie will be playing next Tuesday. It's Wednesday week against Doncaster. He'll be there in 10 days' time. Anyway, and then when these kids get a chance to show, he's obviously not in his top 20, is he? Because he had apart from the long-term injuries, he had his whole squad that was fit. And he left him out for yesterday. He obviously didn't think that yesterday was the game to have him in the squad. And, if he needed to make changes, then, Gray's not going to get on. And look at the players who did come on. Danso, Udogie.
Yeah. Good player, Danso.
So Gray's not going to get, he's not going to get in front of these sort of players, is he? Bergvall, I think he'll be superb in time. I think in a couple of years' time, we'll all be waxing lyrical, and I'm sure there'll be some big clubs coming after him. I think we just got to, for me, it was great. He scored his first goal, 50th appearance. You can see he's improving bit by bit. Frank obviously believes in him. He started him in he's kicked him off. He started him in 2 of the first 4 games. And that's great, And I thought he just got better and better as the game went on. And for me, you can see he's a young kid who's improving. I think that's not.
Yeah, he's got talent.
Oh, he's got tremendous talent. Do
you think he's ready to be in our first 11?
I think.
I
don't think there's a first 11.
Yeah,
no.
It depends on who we're playing. Because you saw the impact.
Okay, let me put this a different way then. Let me put this a different way. Our first 11, I think everyone knows what the first 11 is, yeah? But others might have a different player here and there. Well, okay, would you start him in the Champions League against Real Madrid over Bentancur?
Probably not.
Maybe not, but that's very specific.
Different players. They're different players, aren't they?
Okay, would you start him against Bayern Munich? Would you start him against Juventus? Would you start him against Inter Milan?
They're bigger teams where they're expected to have the ball.
We're in the Champions League. This is where I'm saying. Do you think
we've got Villarreal?
I'm not saying good enough.
Yeah, but we've got Villarreal on Tuesday. We've got Villarreal on Tuesday.
But we've still got big games. We've still got.
Yeah, but it's going to be.
Is he? Would you have him in your first 11 for a massive game? Do you think he's ready for that yet? That's what I'm asking.
Because I don't think Spurs are ready for that.
Next season, the year after, 100%. Yeah. Now, listen, you've seen he started him at West Ham, he started him against Burnley. So you can see the games that he's starting in. Man City, he played Pellegrini and Bentancur.
I think he's good enough for a club player. He's good enough for the 25. I think he should be in that 25. Dare I say this, unlike Archie Gray shouldn't even be in that 25. I think he is good enough to be in that 25. Whereas I don't think he's... I know.
You got 25, mate.
I know. That's the problem. That is the problem. Whereas I think Bergvall is good enough to be in there and good enough to play against teams like West Ham, against teams like Burnley, whatever, and that. But he does not get in that. He does not get in that first 11 against a team like Bayern Munich or something like that. I don't think he's quite ready for that.
It depends on how we're going to play. It depends on how we're going to set up.
Exactly, and in my opinion, I think at the start when Frank came in, it's quite clear that it took Bergvall a little bit to actually adapt and understand what he requires from him. But even if you watch the Bournemouth game where Paulinho and Bentancur started, who technically are the players that you would say would start your Real Madrid game, your Bayern Munich game, you could see that when Bergvall came on, he offered something totally different. He was very quick in recycling the ball. He was very, very good in progressing the ball and taking one or two players out the game. So it depends on the dynamic of the game. But in my opinion, I think Bergvall, from where he is ready to come in, depending on what Frank requires from whichever game that we're playing in. I don't think he's on the fringes to come in at.
Manny, can I tell you what I said yesterday about Bergvall? Look, I'm someone that, because I don't wax lyrical about everyone, I'm told I hate the player. I don't. I think he's got a lot of talent, Bergvall. I think there's a lot of games where I think he's absolutely non-existent, and I think there's other games where I think he comes on and really steps up the tempo of the game for us.
I agree.
I think it's all going to be dependent on the style of the team we play. I don't think it's necessarily about would you play them against Madrid or Munich. I think it's more about how are we setting up. And as I said at the beginning of the show, I feel like Bergvall is very good in those games where you need a high energy midfield, lots of getting back and getting forward, a lot of people who are going to break the lines. My question mark has always been, and again, he's young, so we'll see, because, you know, it's not how we played last year, and we've played a number of different ways this year. Is he the guy that you could play in a midfield too, that could put his foot on the ball and dictate? Now, I don't know is the answer to that question. From what I've seen so far, it's not. I thought yesterday slightly misleading, because when he started getting on the ball a lot was when they were down to 10 men. So we had all the game at that point. So for me, I think he's going to be very good when we play a free. I think he's going to be very good when we're having games where we need him to drive with the ball, because he's very good at that. He's very good at, you know, he goes past the man, drives with the ball. But I just think it's all going to be about who we play and when. And as I said on yesterday's show, Dan, for me, I think there are players who are complete footballers that can play in any formation. He's not that yet. That doesn't mean he won't develop into that.
Exactly.
But right now, I think Frank's doing the right thing. I don't look at him and go, oh my gosh, you must start every game. You are a world beater. But I think Frank's doing the right thing with him. He's getting enough minutes here, enough minutes there. And it's up to him now to turn around and say, I'm going to make myself undroppable. That's up to Bergvall.
I'm agreeing with that. The only question I was asking is because I do see a lot of people go on about how he's spectacular and everything and that. I think he's been a very good player in the aspect of how he's adapted. I just feel he leaves a lot to be desired so far in his final third. I know everyone's going to go, oh, what about yesterday? Okay, how many games does he play for us?
50th game.
And that was his first goal. Okay, there's a lot left to be desired in the final third. So hopefully,
Liverpool.
So hopefully he's going to improve on that side. As all I say with that is where he needs to improve. Whereas before there, he looks very stable and improving a lot. It's in his final third, he has to improve. And that's going to take a bit of time. And he's got time in his hand because he's a young player as such. We're seeing improvement for him. I just don't think he's quite ready yet to be banging that first team straight away, if you get what I mean.
No, but
I can understand playing him. Well, you hope he will.
Yeah, and you got to remember, he's had a year under Ange, or how long it's been. So it's going to be totally different.
He's had quite a bit. He's had a fair bit of ball time on him, so he's had.
But as you said earlier, you can't really judge a player because they played under Ange. So this is now going to be the time when we're gonna see how good he is. And to be the last two games, let's take Bournemouth and West Ham. Okay, second half West Ham, but Bournemouth, when he came on, he was good. He was good yesterday. But there's obviously, as Savva said, depending on the tactics and who we are playing and who the opposition are, and depending on what he's required to do, determines whether he's going to play or not. Sarr at the moment, not everybody probably wanted him sold, and probably he's probably now
what I want to see,
on the team sheet. So
I want to see him get game time. This is why I say other players that don't get game time.
Yeah, but Sarr's had how many years, and this is the problem. Where Bergvall's only just recently. He's new. He's still new, and he's young. So it's the first time he's played it.
But getting game time is going to improve him, isn't it?
Exactly.
So players that ain't getting game time improves a player. Do we agree to that?
Absolutely.
Right. So players that aren't getting significant game time should be out on loan, shouldn't they?
We haven't got enough players there.
It depends because you
all gone out on loan.
Everyone that's not needed.
I mean, with regards to the Archie Gray conversation, right? I think Frank is doing exactly what he should be doing. Right. I'm just pivoting, just as a comment, right? Frank is doing exactly what he should be doing, which is in the Premier League, where he doesn't feel he will get he's got the quality to be able to get in at this moment. He's not included him in the squad. But best believe when we play Doncaster, he would be in that squad, and that's what he has to be doing. That's the level that he has to keep playing to get game time to improve. You improve him as a player. What the problem we had last season is that we ended up having to rely on Archie Gray, on Bergvall, who are young players playing in different positions that they shouldn't even be playing. And
he should have gone out on loan, Gray, shouldn't he?
You know what I mean?
Should have
Like,
gone out on loan.
we had that issue. So,
well,
in my
we
opinion,
basically all just agreed that game time improves a player, not sitting next to a player who's good and sitting there with a notepad and that's saying yes sir, no sir, getting the odd game against bloody Doncaster or a Charlton.
It's not
basically.
enough.
I think Bergvall has been very good. I think he's got to improve in that final third. I think he's got time in his hand. I just don't think he's quite good enough yet to be straight in that 11. But certain games he will suit more than others. And I do think he's going to improve. That was all I was asking.
Yeah. What was interesting, Dan, was what Frank said about Bergvall. About he needs to show him when to make that run, when to release the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that's the experience side. That's when it comes to a younger player where I can show him that bit of leeway in the aspect of experience. When I look at a younger player, whether he's 16 or whether he's 20, I mean, some people still call a 23-year-old a kid, for God's sake. Yeah, well, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like, oh, but he's a kid. And then a year later, oh, no, he's still a kid. Well, he's still not oh, he's still a kid. Well, I will still judge him the same way as I judge someone who's been playing football for 10 years because you're getting paid 50 grand, 100 grand, whatever. You cost 10 million, 20 million, 40 million, whatever million. You're in that first 11. If you're good enough to be in that first 11, I will judge you the same as everybody else. It's called equality in that aspect.
But the two games...
The bit I give them leeway... I'm just talking about players as a whole. I'm not talking about Bergvall.
Well, that's where it's coming from. Bergvall's the first two games Bergvall started.
I'm now talking about players in general. But I'm not talking about Bergvall. I'm talking about young players in general now. I will judge them the same. But the bit they do deserve a bit of leeway on is when you can see a mistake is made through lack of experience. Like Ian just said, with Frank basically saying that he needs more experience on what to do in the final third.
Yeah.
Guys, don't you think...
I wasn't talking about any particular player there, Marlon. I was saying young players in general.
Guys, don't you think Bergvall, he's just a different profile to many of our midfielders, isn't he? He's different.
Yeah.
Yes, he needs a lot of coaching. He needs a lot of guidance. He needs games. You know, there's a lot of work to do with Bergvall, but I like him. I like his energy, his forward thinking. And I think with time, he can grow into a really good player, but we've got to have a bit of patience with the lad. We really do.
Yeah, but the problem is, Dan, the problem is if you don't wax lyrical and call him the greatest young player in the world and the best thing you've seen, people go, "Oh, you don't rate him." I rate him. I think he's got all the tools in the locker to be really good. But I get Dan's point. Is what we can't do is it can't be. Oh, he's had a really good half against West Ham. Suddenly we're all going, "Oh my God, this boy's going to be £100 million." And then in the next game you see nothing, and people go, "Oh yeah, but he's young." People have got to make their mind up. And this is what I've always...
Yeah, I think if you're balanced...
Any of you that have worked with me for enough times will know I always say this. If you want to put, again, the royal you, I'm not talking about anyone individual. If you want to put a player on that pedestal, I'm going to judge them on that pedestal. So don't put a player on a pedestal, and then when I judge them, get upset and start saying, yeah, but they're young. My point is that they're young. My point is young players will naturally have some very good games and then games where you go, meh. So don't overhype the good games. Then don't undersell the bad games. Just stay a little bit level-headed. The problem with football fans is they want to make every young player that has a good 45 minutes, they want to turn them into Lionel Messi. They want to turn them into Bergvall's going to, Real Madrid are going to come in for it. Whoa.
Generational.
Can we wait for Bergvall to make himself undroppable at Tottenham for 2-3 years before we start talking about Real Madrid are going to want to sign? You know what I mean? Just a little bit calm.
And he's had three of his four games. He's been quite decent in them. He's shown his quality because he was good against Burnley. I remember everyone was going, he was good. I can't remember what really much about Man City because we were good with Benson.
We came on with a few minutes to go.
And then Bournemouth, when he came on, he was the only shining light that he had the first shot on target and we looked like we were going to move forward. And then yesterday, second half, first half is, like I said, a bit anomalous. The second half, he was good. So he's showing a good showing from what he's been getting at the minute. So 75% of it's been good this season. So let's see what happens now over the next few weeks for more game time.
You can
see potential in him, can't you? You can see he can go somewhere. You can see there is a player there, without a doubt, that has got a hell of a lot of potential. But again, I agree with what Savva says, and I say it as well. Okay, he's had a good couple of games, and yes, I can name quite a few games where he's been totally anonymous as well. Take it one step at a time.
I get that.
Oh yeah, so just forget that underrange, yeah.
Slander.
So take it one step at a time. Take it one step at a time. That he's had a great game, but some people like to think one half makes you that great. Just take it time. I think he's going to be a great player. He's one of the few young players that look like they got potential. The rest of them, I don't see what anybody has seen anything in.
Sav, can I just mention, talking of Ange, as it was mentioned, he took over Forest and they were 10th, and he's played one game and they're 15th now. So he's only got 3 more to go.
Terrible manager. Terrible manager.
He's only got three more positions to go now.
But on a serious note, so look, I want to before we move on to Kudus, I do want to say though that the interesting thing with the Archie Gray thing, I'm not going to sit here and slate Archie Gray, whatever. But the interesting thing is, Bassuma didn't leave the club, right? Bassuma did not leave the football club. Now, this is an important fact to remember, right? Because he is a senior pro footballer at Tottenham Hotspur. So where are all you guys on this? Because you're already seeing yesterday when you've got a fuller squad, bearing in mind there's still a few players missing, but when you've got a fuller squad, someone like an Archie Gray couldn't get onto that bench. So what does that mean now for Bassuma? What about when Bassuma gets fit? Is he going to jump in front of Gray? Is he done?
Long.
What does this, hang on. What does this is a really loaded question. What does this mean for Gray? If he's being left out of squads, what does this mean for him in terms of his development? Is he going to get enough game time? I just think it's quite interesting to see.
Well, there was only one midfielder on the bench yesterday.
That's right.
Bentancur, which was interesting. So neither Gray or Bassuma made the bench. And look.
But Gray's going to make Champions League benches, isn't he, at this rate?
Because of his homegrown, isn't it?
Because of Tell not being available.
Because
so you don't think it will be Bassuma? So let's assume Bassuma's fit. Does Bassuma get on the bench above Archie Gray?
I think Bassuma is kind of done. I think Frank has kind of gone, that's it now, you're done. And I think Gray will be in front of him because I think they see more of a future with Gray than they do. I think they want to get rid of Bassuma now. Unless there's a major injury crisis, that's the only time we probably see Bassuma again.
I think we're going to need Bassuma, guys. I know we don't like him, but we're going to need him.
I agree. I
think he's gone. I think he's done because of everything that he's been doing and being late. I think they're kind of washing their hands of it. They want to get rid of him, but obviously it was Galatasaray who said that he wasn't fit enough. That's why they're not taking him. So I'm looking at he's not made the Champions League squad.
Yeah, he hasn't. Marlon, are we saying what he because obviously I don't know what he's done, right? Are we saying what he's done supersedes him being like, because if I'm a player, right, who's gone through something like this?
Yeah, I think Frank's laying down the law because he's got to show the rest of the players exactly, because this is not just the first incident with Bassuma regarding a manager. You got to remember the whole balloon incident. So there's going to be previous and there's going to be True. So I think for Frank, and he's like, I think everyone kept saying he's got a no dickhead policy. Unfortunately, I think Bassouma's falling into that camp, and no matter if we like it or not, Bassouma might be the better player than Gray. But when it comes down to it, I think he's going to use Gray more than he'll try and use Bassuma. Unfortunately,
but Marlon can't Bassuma change his mind.
No, Manny, thanks, bro.
Thanks,
much love,
guys.
Speak to you soon. Please all subscribe to Manny at a designated Hotspur. Really good content creator. Thank you.
I know what you're going to say. I don't think so. I think because it's not just this one incident. It's going to be the whole balloon incident with what's his name, with Ange as well. It's going to play into this, and the club are probably looking at, wait, we need to get rid of this guy because it's not a one-off. There's always something with Bassuma.
He had it with Conte as well, Marlon.
Yeah, and he had it with Conte.
Conte for bad timekeeping as well. So that's 3 managers now.
that is one thing he has always been grilled for, is timekeeping. The way I will stick up for the player, though, when people say he's shit and everything, because every manager he had played him in a defensive manner, and he is not a defensive player in any means or manner.
We're not talking about his ability.
And I'm about to go on to the next bit, But where he doesn't turn up on time and that is a major thing for me. Time is a major thing. If you are late, I don't dig being late. You know, I mean, if you need to get somewhere, you leave half hour before you're meant to leave to give yourself time for the traffic and whatever and stuff like that. And I don't think he's done himself no favours whatsoever. But then I've also read in a lot of things, it wasn't down to the fitness. It was down to the fact that he said, I ain't going nowhere. Same as we tried to get rid of Richarlison. He said, I ain't going nowhere. And when it comes down to the crunch, I can only speak from an opinion. If I'm in a situation and I'm on the last 10 minutes of that game, 1-0 up, and I need to hold on to that game, I will bring on the better player that can help me win that game, not bring on the principles. But I can also totally understand what you're saying, where the manager has to put his foot down and everything. Maybe he's going to put his foot down and tell Bassuma, right, pull your finger out your arse, stop being late, this and that. We can get you back in here. But if we're going to be honest, he starts in front of Archie Gray all day long.
That's not a question, but it's not a question at all.
But that leads on to it, though, doesn't it, guys? That leads on to, if we're saying, right, everyone's got good points, right? If we're leading on to this, he's unprofessional and he's happened before, and the no dickhead policy and all that kind of stuff. Are we saying then that we're just going to have an Yves Bassuma sitting at Tottenham Hotspur between now and a minimum of January? Because he can't go anywhere. I believe all the windows have shut now, haven't they? The Turkish window's shut. They've all shut, right? Yeah. So are we saying we're just going to have a Yves Bassuma sitting at the football club between September and January, not getting any game time? You don't think there's any redemption arc? There's no way back? No, sorry, Gaffer.
There has to be. There has to be. Come on. He's a professional player.
Do we not think he'll play? Do we not think he'll play Bassuma and Gray against Doncaster?
Yeah,
as long as midfield players are rest.
Is Gray ready for Doncaster? Lubo, don't bite.
I'm not even biting. I
think. Do you know what? I think that's a great point, mate. I think the Doncaster game will tell us where Bassuma fits in all of this. Because if he's nowhere to be seen, then it's my point of, he's not going to be, that's it, done for him. But if he's seen against Doncaster, then maybe there is a way back for him. Going back to Dan's point, going back to Danless's point, where there is a way back for him. But personally, I just don't think, because the fact they wanted to get rid, if he doesn't want, like Dan, he said, if it's down to he doesn't want to leave the club, they'll just let him train with the youth team and just let him bide his time. This happens at certain clubs, unfortunately. There's certain players that don't want to leave, but we've got to be, if we want to try and be this big club, sometimes you're going to get players like this and kind of just put them to one side and wait.
We haven't got the depth to do that, though, Marlon. We haven't got the depth to be like that. If anything, it's good that Bassuma didn't leave, because otherwise there's going to be certain games where Paulinho, I don't think Paulinho is going to be fully fit all season. I think
he's going to rotate.
Well, 2 injuries, Dan, and we can't put a bench out. Dan, 2 injuries.
Exactly. I'm agreeing with what you're saying, Marlon. I'm agreeing with what you're saying. But what I'm saying is, it's a good job we did keep Bassuma.
But this is the whole, that goes back to Spence, doesn't it? Last year, when injuries meant he had to then come in and play.
But where we've got lack of midfield, we get 1 or 2 injuries in midfield, and all of a sudden we're in big trouble.
Yeah,
we needed to keep Bassuma. If we got rid of Bassuma, we had to improve them. Otherwise, we are stuck with pretty poor players in that position, basically.
But this is what's going to happen. This is why you're going to have to use a squad. And I'm not sitting there saying Bassuma. I want Bassuma in there, because seeing him how he played in the Europa League last year is the Bassuma that we've all been asking for years.
Because he got to play a different way. He got to play as an attacking box to box.
But the problem is, but it's nothing to do. But this has got nothing to do with his footballing ability. Otherwise, he'd be in the squad now. And this is the issue that you're going to have. There's going to be certain players that are just bad eggs, unfortunately, and Bassuma is on the naughty step, and it's not. And as again, this is not the first incident with Bassuma at this club. So
Marlon, isn't the point? If tomorrow, let's look at the squad as it is right now. I'm not going to include Dragashin, because we know he can't play. Maddison, those boys. If right now training Monday morning. Let me just any two players go. It doesn't matter. Any two players get injured. Spurs don't have a bench. So doesn't that automatically? Basuma's not in the Champions League squad, is he?
Not in the Champions League squad, no.
But that would mean for the Brighton game, we don't have a bench. If we have two players that get injured now, so isn't it kind of like here's what we want to do with him, but actually he might end up being.
There could be, and that's why I said it goes back to the whole Spence situation where Ange didn't want him at all, and then he got to a point where he had to put him on the bench, and then he got to the point he had to put him in the starting lineup.
So this time next year, Basuma's going to get a new contract, is what you're saying, because he's going to be our best player. Is that what you're saying?
Do you know what? Look, stranger things have happened, but for me, yeah, it could happen. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be. However, you can see where Frank's coming from. He's just coming to the club, and this man, within weeks, is trying to go over your authority straight away. You can see where Frank is coming from. And if Frank if Frank chooses Archie Gray of Basuma, I'm not going to be mad at it, even though I know Basuma's the better player. But Frank's got to show that he is the leader and he is the manager in this situation. And unfortunately, Bassuma has crossed the line. The fact he missed the Super Cup, and considering he played a major part, it just says everything. He went, no, that's it, I'm done. And we've just not seen him since. I don't even think I've seen him in training photos.
I get what you're saying. I get it. But the other side, I look on it, I'll make you totally right on everything you've said. But just looking at it from another side, at the end of the day, the manager's biggest job is to win that game, come love nor money. Mm-hmm. But I can totally understand why you get players like that out of your team. And if he's going to be like that, I wouldn't want people like that there. But at this moment in time, it's a good job we did not sell him, because as soon as we get two injuries in midfield, if we wouldn't have had Bassuma there, we would be absolutely in big trouble.
The question you then have to ask yourself, what's Basuma's mentality going to be going into all of this? Because he knows, kind of in that situation, that as soon as the others come back, he's gone again, because Frank don't trust him enough. Even if he plays well.
But then that's where he can prove himself, or has to, isn't it? Like we said about Tell.
But do you think Bassuma has that mentality? I'll ask anyone.
I don't think he has.
And then there's your issue there straight away. Once he doesn't have that mentality, you're stuck again. He might have the talent, but he doesn't. Up here, he's not there.
He's been a flop, isn't he? Basuma, he's been a bit of a flop, isn't he, at Spurs?
I think a lot of it, though, Dan, hasn't necessarily. His mentality isn't great, but I'll stick up for him to the point of, but Dan, he's not. It was something like 80% of the mistakes he made last season, chaos moment tackles, and that was all in defensive moments. He is not a defensive player in any means or manner, and his past three managers played him as a more defensive role. He was always a player of get that ball, charge forward with it, then a direct ball left, right, or straight down the middle. Past three managers played him defensive. It's like what we said about other players last season. Porro, not an inverted wing-back. Udogie, not an inverted wing-back. Other players don't play this way. He has always been made to play at Spurs out of his sync. And then when we have played him correctly, like in Europe and the odd game here or there, he looks a total different player. But his mentality will definitely do him no favours. I'm 100% with Marlon.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's a good point. Can I just ask then? So, what does this mean for? Gray? Like the question I've always asked is this boy going to get significant game time to develop? And hang on. Let me ask my question. Let me ask my question at least. Come on.
Hey, Savva, you said Archie Gray and Lubo's what?
Hang on. People don't go on to quiz shows and then not let the host ask the question. My worry is going to be now with him that if we're now already seeing him that he's the first one when push comes to shove that's not in the squad. We're seeing that Sarr and Bergvall everyone's raving about and they're starting to take opportunities. We know that Bentancur and Paulinho are the two senior pros. Is he going to get enough game time in midfield, guys? And I'm not talking about 10 minutes here or there. I'm talking about meaningful game time to develop as a footballer. My concern is that he's not going to. And that's why I would have let him go on loan and brought in someone on loan the other way. That's just me. I know Lubo wants to go first on this with his boy, but There you go. We'll finish now, Lou.
That's going to be a decision for the club beginning of Jan, isn't it? If Gray's not getting minutes, I think he will. I mean, you look at we had 20 yesterday, and you look at the players. I'll just go through the players who were at the club who weren't in the squad. So Dragerson injured, Bassuma out for disciplinary, Madison injured, Gray left out, Kulu injured, Sakai injured, Ben Davis.
He was on the bench.
He was on the bench. That's it. That's it. There is
so Dragashin's back in training. They reckon is going to be back in the squad in 2 weeks' time. So there's another body, right? Sakai, we don't know how long he's going to be out for.
We don't know.
So is Gray going to be the victim? Like, how many midfielders do you need on the bench? Like,
the question is, Sav, we haven't had any injuries yet, have we? Yes.
No, that's that's my point, Lou. But what I'm saying is, I'm looking at it from both sides, right? I'm looking at it when Dragushin is back fit. You're not telling me that Ben Davis is dropping off that bench or Danso. I think all three of those will probably be on the bench.
I would say Dragushin will come in for Davis, I think, personally.
Okay, so Dragushin comes in for Davis. All right.
Yeah.
And then you've got Sakai to come back as well.
Kulu.
What if when Kulu comes back? I just worry that, again, this is nothing about whether you all know what I think of Gray, but my worry is for any young player like that, we always talk about them sticking around at the club. If you're not playing football, and I see him now as I think he's fifth choice midfielder purely because Bassuma's a naughty boy.
Yeah.
I think if Bassuma wasn't, he'd be sixth choice. And I just don't know how's he going to grow as a player by not playing. I just worry.
Well, the problem is, Sav, you look at this, you've got 22 fit players at the moment in the squad. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all you got, because you've got 5 injured and you've got 13 on loan. So all you've got at the moment is 22. You got the 20 that were there, plus Bassuma and Gray, and that's it.
Do you agree, Ian?
Hang on, and Sakai and Dragushin. That's 24.
No, hang on. I said 5 injured. There's 5 injured.
Yeah, but those two are back soon, aren't they? So that's okay. that 22 goes to 24.
24. Okay.
And do you agree, Ian, with me a minute ago? Well, about 40 minutes ago, that for the best way for a player to get experience is through game time.
Yeah, but at the moment,
so he should be out. So he should be out on loan. And you've been the one saying the whole time. You've said to us for God knows how long that he should stay here because he's got better players to look up to. But then you just agreed with me 40 minutes ago, 45 minutes ago, that a player's best way to get better is through game time experience. It contradicts itself.
And unfortunately, the squad's too thin at the moment.
So
that is true.
I do agree with that bit.
Yeah. The question is, when he will say there are injuries and he does make the bench, do you think he'll get enough minutes from the substitute bench to even warrant him even being here kind of scenario? Will he get more than 10 minutes here, 3 minutes there? Will he get 20? Will he get enough game time from the bench, even if he makes it? That's going to be the question.
This is the question, Marlon. It's all right him playing against Doncaster, right? It's okay doing that. It's okay then maybe a month later if we get someone else in the cup in playing, but it's very difficult at that age. Sarr and Bergvall I can see getting plenty of minutes. I can't see Gray getting... I might be wrong. We could have an injury crisis in midfield and suddenly Gray's the main man, of course. I'm just looking at the moment with all of those central midfielders fit, I just don't know how this boy develops. And then all of a sudden, I feel like we're 2 years down the line and he's not had any real game time in centre mid. And I don't know. Do you know
development stops.
I think this is where January is key, because you'll know in 3.5 months transfer window opens again. And at that point, Spurs have got to make a decision. Gray's got to make a decision. If he's not getting minutes, then he's got the chance to go out on loan, and Spurs have got a chance to replace him. And I can see Bassuma being sold in Jan, again, if he's hardly getting any minutes, he's not going to want to be hanging around. I don't know. Is his country in line for the World Cup? I don't know. Is he going to be one of these players?
Who's that?
Bassuma.
Didn't they go out? I thought they went out.
Did they go out?
I don't actually know. I
think they went out.
So if they're still in it, then he's going to want. He's not going to want to be sitting around kicking his heels. But when you look at it, Takai, we don't know when he's going to be back. Dragoson's not going to be back. Dragoson's got to do he's been out for how long? Since Feb?
Yeah, he's had a long injury.
A long layoff. So okay. you can forget about him for 6-8 weeks probably. He's got to do a pre-season, hasn't he?
If Bassuma goes, sorry, go on.
So if you got Takai and Dragoson, you're not probably going to see possibly till November. Then you've literally got, and he's not playing Bassuma, you've got that 20 plus Gray plus Austin. So you've got 22, including 3 goalkeepers in the squad.
That is true. We know he'll be on the bench Tuesday night, right? We know he'll be on the bench Tuesday because Tell's going to come out of the squad because he's not registered. I'm just looking at it from a point of view of when these players are fit. So like when Phil says he's not in the midfield group, he's in the fullback group. But is he in the fullback group? If I look at the 4 fullbacks for me, that would be Porro, Spence, Udogie, and Ben Davies. So when I'm looking at, I don't think he is in the fullback group.
The only reason, Savva, that he is even in that group is because he has to be in that group. That is the only reason. He's not there because of his skill. He's not there because he's good. He has had what? When he's played in midfield, he has had 1 mediocre game. He managed to go a game for 20 minutes and touch a bloody ball once. He's been totally destroyed by 1 game every time he's played in midfield. He held his grip.
The Burnley game, he was terrible.
He was awful.
He was awful.
He was shocking it. Come on, apart from 1 game where he's had a respectable midfield, every time he's played in midfield, he has been absolutely slaughtered every time. When he's played at right back, which he's played at right back more than he has done in centre mid and was doing it at Leeds as well, he was okay at times. The bit I'll give him leeway on is where he played as centre mid. For his standards, we couldn't really complain. Whereas if that would have been a proper defender there, he'd have got slammed for a few things. The only reason he even sees this squad is because he has to be in it at the moment. And that is because of the homegrown and that. If it wasn't down to that one, he would not be in. And you've been saying the whole time that it is better that he stays at Spurs and sits next to a player like Paulinho or whatever and has something to learn. But then you just agree. But then you agreed with me 50 minutes ago now that for a young player's best way to improve is game time. So,
but Dan, what I also said was that if we get to January and he's hardly had any game time at all, we've been very fortunate. We've been injury free. Frank's got his favourites. Gray's hardly getting any minutes. Then he's got to look at it.
So you've changed your opinion then?
No, but it's all based at the moment. You've got Sarr, but Sarr's come through this season. Sarr's been much better than the previous 3 or 4 years. I'm sure we can agree. Bergvall can only get better. He's playing Paulinho and Bentancur in the big games. So at the moment, Gray is 5th choice. Now,
but that's not what I'm asking you. That's not what I'm asking you, Ian. He's been 5th choice. He's gone up 2 places then, because last season he was about 7th choice for midfield. Yeah, so fair play to him in that aspect. Yeah. What I'm asking you is, have you changed your opinion now? Then,
if he gets no game time, Dan, if he's going to get no game time for the first half of the season, then yes, he's got to go out on loan.
So you've changed your opinion on it then, which is fair enough.
Last season he played 46 games last year.
That isn't what I was saying. You've been saying the whole time that even if he isn't getting consistent game time, the best way for him to improve will be to stay at Spurs, even if he ain't getting consistent game time. And anyone on here can back me up on this. You've said it the whole time. So all I'm asking is, do you see it from another side now, basically? I'm not having a dig at you. I'm just asking, do you actually see the other side now?
No, I think that last season he played he played or part of or started 3 out of every 4. If he's going to get 1 out of every 4 or not 1 out of every 6, then of course that game time from last year has dropped down dramatically. And then it's only right that he goes out on loan. And in January, Spurs have got a chance to get a replacement because the squad is so wafer thin that you can't. And I agree with you on Bassuma. There was no point getting shot Bassuma if you couldn't replace him.
Because we had no depth, did we?
Because we are so short. You know, last year you had people like Mikey Moore, Ajayi coming in. Scarlett came back to the club towards the end of the season. Lancashire played in the first half of the season. He scored at Galatasaray. All these boys are out on loan now. So you haven't got those kids to come in and play in these games, as backups. And they
So if he doesn't really get much game time, then do you think that's going to hold his career back, or do you think he's still going to improve, being able to sit next to a player like Paulinho, what you have been saying for over a year? Or do you see it from a different side now that, maybe he does need to go on loan to get the game time to improve? That's all I'm asking you.
Well, when I said what I said, Dan, it was based on two things. Number one, he played 46 games last season.
That wasn't what I asked.
Hang on. And number two, the reason for thinking that he should stay at the club. And the second reason was that Frank tried to buy him. And Brentford set the price, which is why we ended up having to pay 40 million to buy him. And I've said plenty of times, you shouldn't be paying 40 million for a championship player that's played well, but played in the championship. You should be paying no more than 20 million. But because Brentford had pitched at 40, if Spurs wanted him, obviously we're not going to offer 20, are we? We've got to match the offer. So we ended up overpaying for him to get the player. If he's not going to get the game time, and since I did say that, Dan, about Gray playing with Paulinho, Sar's come through in a big way. To me, I didn't look on Bassuma because of his attitude, and for me, Bassuma was really hit and miss. And albeit Ange has got no system, for me, Bassuma's been a big disappointment. I was really excited when he joined.
So, if he's not getting consistent game time, do you agree now that the best thing for the player is to go on loan so he gets game time?
If he's not going to get any game time, then he's got to go out on loan.
Can I move? Sure. Let me move the conversation on. And we are going to end the show in 6 minutes, by the way. But let me move the conversation on quickly. I'll start with Dan with Danalist and Marlon on this. It's an interesting one because he's a midfielder, right? From what I'm led to believe, this guy's a midfielder. Where, if you send him on loan in January, guys, where does he go? Because this may be just me. I don't look at any Premier League team at all that he walks into their midfield. That's always been my worry. I don't look at any Premier League team that's going to go, cool, we've got an issue in midfield. Archie Gray at Tottenham is the guy that's going to solve it. So,
what about going abroad?
Disagree with me.
He could go abroad, maybe.
Be a top championship team.
What about going abroad, like some of our other players went? He needs game time. I don't have this, waiting for injuries to develop a player. No,
I agree.
Can't rely on that. He needs it alone in the summer.
I agree.
There's not enough game time for him.
Where?
I'm sorry.
But this is the question I'm asking. Where? What's his level? Because people in the chat are going, Leeds. He's not getting into Leeds' midfield.
Not now.
Who are we kidding? He's not getting into Leeds United's midfield. Right?
He won't get in
Scotland. I think Scotland, somewhere like Aberdeen or something like that, is his level. Personal opinion, because I really don't rate him in any means or manner. Or down to at least he'll be getting game time. Sure. Game time can develop a player, and Scotland is quite a physical league, and I think that's his standards. Or he's going to go Championship. He will not go no team in the Premier League unless someone. I can't even think of a team in an injury crisis that would go and say, do you know what, Archie Gray has saved that when they can't get better elsewhere.
It all depends on their circumstances when it comes to January and where teams are in the league, whether he could get a Premier League side. Because if you had a Southampton situation, it's likely he would have got minutes there last year if playing in midfield because Southampton were just that bad. But when you go and look at the Championship, I don't even think he gets into a top 6 Championship side because some of them have some decent players. This
has been my worry all along, Marlon. This has been, when Lubo's fought tooth and nail for this kid, this has been my worry all along, that when I've seen him play, he don't look better than the centre mids I watch when I watch top Championship level games. He looks very much...
Savva, he hasn't had a consistent run in the team, though, has he? for Spurs.
But
in
for
midfield.
a bloody good
Right back,
for a
he did.
reason.
Right
For
back,
a reason,
not
Not
right?
in centre back. The only time he's had a good run is a centre back. Apart from that, he's
So
not
we're
haven't
seeing, like,
seen him
Phil
week to
Coys is
week.
saying Burnley. Look, I looked at Burnley's midfield today. He don't get in that. Burnley's midfield today was strong and powerful, good engines. He's not that, is he? He's quite a shy, timid
gets
lad.
knocks all over
He's
the
a better
place.
right back,
That's
isn't he?
not
That's the problem.
disrespect. It's just what
It
he
is what it is.
Yeah.
Rangers. That's a good
Scotland,
shout.
I think, is probably Scotland, or maybe even a smaller team in Serie A, like some are saying, might be the chance he's got, or even one of the lowest teams in the Bundesliga. He might have a chance of getting in that team. I agree with what you said. He don't even make a top 6 or 8 championship team first 11 consistently. He might get a game here or there, but the idea of a player going out on loan is to get significant game time, at least starting 75% of the games. And you can do that on the loan, can't you? Right, I will loan you this player, but he has to play 75% of the games. If he don't, we take him back. And where does he actually get that? Because every time, if he is a midfielder, like people tell me, every time I've seen him play in midfield, bar one game where he looks all right, he's been absolutely shocking. Where is he going to improve? He needs game time. I want him to improve. And he's not going to do that with 10 minutes here or a game against Doncaster.
He's probably better off being a right back and going back to how he done well at Leeds.
You reckon?
Yeah, probably. Because we probably even saw his better performances for us when he was playing fullback as well. He actually was.
I could go with that. I could go with that.
Maybe he's just a defender.
Maybe that's where he's best position, where he's taken out the firing line of being that general, and where he can be progressively going forward. Because I thought he was half decent at right back for Leeds when the games that I saw him in, and for us he wasn't that bad either. So that's probably where, if I looked at it for him getting a loan as a right back, I could see more Premier League teams taking that. But we'd have to now put him at right back within the next 6 months so people can see what he can do.
That's a fair point. I think that's a pretty fair point. I think that's
because
where he might stand a better chance.
I'm not knocking him. I know it always sounds like I'm not knocking him. I'm just looking at it from a player development point of view. Is if you leave a guy for two years without playing in one position, these are the years that are going to make him or break him. And this is a very slippery. We've seen this with so many footballers down the years, not at Tottenham, just in general, where they're brought to a club, don't get the significant game time in their area because they're not as good as the players in front of them. And then all of a sudden their career is played out in lower leagues because they've not made it. Now, that might not be the case. We might get a few injuries. Gray steps in and all of a sudden in 10 games, I'm going, bloody hell, Archie Gray's amazing. But if these players stay fit, I just don't quite see... I just don't quite see what we're going to do. Now, look, last thing I'm going to do before we wrap up the show is, look, here's the, hopefully that's brought up. Yeah. Like I'm going to discount, if I'm honest, I'm going to discount Arsenal, Liverpool. He doesn't get in at Bournemouth. I think we can all agree on that. I don't think he gets anywhere near Everton's midfield. Sunderland have just bought players like Granit Xhaka. He's not getting in there. He's not getting in at Palace, Newcastle, Fulham, Man U, Brentford, Brighton.
Not
Forest.
sure about Man U actually, Sam. What?
Forest.
Yeah, actually.
I don't think he gets in at Leeds United, Man City. I don't think he gets in at Burnley, West Ham, Villa, Wolves. This is a real make and break 3 or 4 months for this kid. This is a real make and break. But Phil, when you're saying I've always said Gray is our second right back, so what is Jed Spence not a right back?
That's what I'm just literally saying here. Spence is our right back as well.
Phil, I don't know. You do realise in terms of fullbacks, the people that we've got at the club that can play fullback, you've now got Takai, by the way, who is equally a right back as a centre half. You've got Ben Davis, who can play left back, Adogi, Spence, Porro. This isn't last season. We've got players fit. This isn't an injury crisis. We've got players fit. So when we're saying he's a right back, I don't think he is for us anymore.
Dragoshin can play right back as well, can't he, apparently? So he's been
Who's that?
played there. Dragoshin has apparently played right back before as well.
Yeah, and Mickey van der Ven can cover left back. Christian Romero played right back. This is where I just don't... But again, you're just no, Phil. You're rewriting history. You're rewriting history here. Spence, whatever way you want to mix it up, he is a right back. He has played left back mainly because Udogie's been injured, but he is a right back. Are you telling me, right? I'll ask the panel quickly before we end the show. If Udogie's fit and playing at left back and Porro's our right back, are you telling me that Porro gets injured and that Frank's going to put in Archie Gray over Jed Spence at right back?
Never in a million years.
It's not going to happen, is it?
You put your doggy there first.
Yeah, exactly right.
What's nice, I think what's excellent is that after the way Spence was treated last year by Ange, I think he's got a manager who appreciates him. He's in the team. And Spence is in deservedly, and Udogie is now fit and he's on the bench, and that's exactly how it should be. Udogie's got to win his place back. Spence is in full control of that shirt at the moment, and he'll play on Tuesday night as well.
What, Spence?
Yeah, definitely. And I can see Spence being really important for England going forward, because when we play in big games against really good fullback wingers, he'll be the go-to in terms of
he will
for those specific games where it's one-on-one and he's got like someone of the same level of like a Saka or a Salah or whatever, maybe a Nico Williams of Spain, whatever. I mean, I'd love to see Spence up against Jamal. That would be something.
I wouldn't. I don't want to see any of our fullbacks up against Jamal. He's no. I don't want to see Jamal too far.
I'd like to see how well Spence does against him.
I can tell you how that will do right now. He'll get absolutely taken to the cleaners. I can tell you right now. Lamine Yamal's the best player in world football right now. I don't know what we're doing here, Lubo. But you are right in a sense that Jed Spence for me is our best. Big up, hang on, Phil. Last thing said, you're not understanding me, Savva. Spence will go in at right back ahead of Gray. If there was a scenario where Spence playing left back and Porro and Udogie are injured. Yeah, but Phil, think of the mental gymnastics you're having to do there to make Gray our right back, right? We're literally going, if he gets injured and he gets injured and he plays.
We can get him in the team as such, one way or another. You've got to injure about 5 players for him to even stand a chance of getting in the team.
I just thought it was an interesting one. Look, guys, I am going to leave it there. I'm going to read that. Listen, again, as I said, I'm not knocking him. I'm just trying to think about this guy's progression, because last year the excuse was he didn't get any games in midfield. This year, what if he doesn't get any games in midfield? We've got no Ange to blame it on this year. Guys, let me just do some super chats quickly. Big up to Cat Funt, who's been a member for 2 months. Big up to you. Always the name that catches you out. Says big up Savva. 3-0. Hope you are well, mate. I am very well. Thank you for asking. This time last week, I was in Turkey. Now I'm not. I'm in South London. Big up to you, Cat Funt. Really appreciate that. Video complete. Sophia has said Simon's in the 10, Bergvall in the 8, and Paulinho in the 6. I mean, I'm sure there'll be games where we see that, but I'm sure there's going to be games where we see a number of different midfield concoctions from Thomas Frank. Big up to you, video complete. Alex Smith, thank you very much. I said, evening, folks. I have asked Expressions if you're looking forward to the Champions League and how far do you see Spurs going? You've asked Expressions, or you're asking us? Expressions oozing. Is he here? Where's my man Expressions? I'll answer that. I'm very much looking forward to the Champions League. How far do I see us going? I see us qualifying out of the league stage. After that, it's all down to the luck of the draw, right? If you get Real Madrid over 2 legs, I'll be honest, I don't quite fancy us yet, or Barcelona. So we'll see how we get on with a draw on that one. Big up to you, Alex. Really appreciate that. Destiny 5 has said someone needs to be held accountable for VAR decisions. Lubo, let's blame Lubo. Lubo should be held accountable for all VAR decisions moving forward. And Marlon, it's Daniel Levy should be held accountable for all VAR decisions. And Andy Lester, big up, said, big up, guys. Do we think the club goes big in Jan? Andy, I guess this is going to be what everyone is thinking, right? Everyone's immediately thinking Levy's gone. The Lewis kids are in charge. We're going to go big. Lubo has promised me Savio in January, by the way. He has assured me that Savio is signing for Tottenham in January. So if it doesn't, I'll be going after him. But Andy, I guess it all, look, we'll see, right? It's Tottenham at the end of the day, so we'll see. Big up to all of you. Marlon, thank you. Danny, thank you. Danalist, thank you very much. Lubo,
Cheers.
Please get over and subscribe to Spurs Kings TV, the Hotspur Hood. Please get over and subscribe to the Danalist and to the Spurs 5 for myself and Lubo and your tight gits. Try and subscribe to this channel as well, as we've had 3 subscribers all night. Really tough crowd lately. No, one's just unsubscribed. 2 subscribers all night. Tough crowd. Really tough crowd. Thank you very much. Much love. I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you very much. And as oh god, hang on, let me redirect. Sorry, let me redirect. I always forget to do this. How rude of me. Let's see who's live. 1 second. Bear with me, people. Customization, redirect. Who's live in the world of Spurs? Absolutely.
Diehards.
Oh, Diehards.
What's Diehards? Yeah, are they live?
Yeah,
Should be. Yeah.
Diehards, is it?
Yeah, they are.
Can't find it. Spurs Diehards. There we go. Live. There you go. When you get over there, just type in Savva Raid, and that would be much appreciated. Much love. Take care, and as always, come on, you Spurs.